spoken a lot about heritage. We're actively building out at Newton Burial Ground. We have done some works at Golden Square so that people could better understand the story of what happened there. Right now, there's a simple obelisk standing in commemoration of the landing. I think that we could do more to tell the story of this site, not just of English settlement, but the story of the Amerindian community who were here before all of us, our indigenous population who were decimated. I understand that there's tremendous economic value for any beachfront in HOLETOWN, but can we save some of it for us? Even if we don't keep the police station there, my personal view is that this should always be publicly accessible land. Ideally, I would love to see a green space. I would love to see some kind of creativity go into what could be designed to go there so people can enjoy and get a better understanding of the history. We've heard the cases being made about traffic congestion in the area. I don't know how having a 9-story hotel on one side of the canal and a 7-story hotel on the other side of the canal are going to alleviate traffic congestion. It's already a mess, let's be honest. We haven't heard about environmental impact. We know that the West Coast is not sewered. When we're adding additional hotel rooms, how is this going to affect the coast? And in terms of beach access, other than Bats Rock and Folkestone, I can't tell you a facility where I can park, have a sea bath, turn around and shower, pack my bags, and leave comfortably. Everywhere else along the West Coast, because coastal development in Barbados, particularly on the West Coast, since the 1950s, has allowed wealthy, usually foreign developers to come and build wall to wall to wall to wall to wall. We have no view. And if you want to get on the beach, we are squeezing between a couple of walls. I love GOV'T Beach, but I am always wary about wringing an ankle when I have to go on to GOV'T Beach. And we know what the practice has been for decades. I cannot sit here and be a part of something where I feel like we're allowing it, we're perpetuating the problem. So like Senator Boyce would have said, we need to be very, very clear on what the guardrails are for these developers. Tourism is notoriously extractive, we know that. We heard about job creation, but then still we heard the workers' union overwhelmingly telling us their challenges with regards to the treatment of hotel workers. A lot of them are being hired only on a part-time basis, basically being brought on between November and April, being sent home during the summer months. What we know is that the average room attendant is making around $440 in a luxury, because there are different categories of hotels. Luxury is the highest paid. They're taking home $447 a week, I think. So when we talk about job creation, we also need to think about the quality of jobs that we're creating. What I would like to see personally in this new Barbados, in this new republic, let's start having a conversation about Barbadian ownership. How do we get a piece of the pie? How do we get to participate?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Marcia Week Show, and we are coming to you live from Barbados. Barbados, the change starts with us. The change starts with us. Community action and responsibility. The change starts with us. Community action and responsibility. And that is what we are going to be dealing with tonight. Tonight, we are going to have a full session where we're going to react to that video. So stay tuned. That's going to be at 9 o'clock. Former Senator Maxine McCLEAN is going to be on, and we are going to react to that video. So we ask you to stay on and to share and to like. It's very, very important. It's a critical time in Barbados, and we want to make sure that we are, we understand what is going on, and we're on top of things. Okay. A little later in the program, Michelle Daniel is going to come, and she is going to talk to us about the dangers and the risks of Molly, the drug Molly. It's called ecstasy sometimes, various names. Okay. And so Michelle Daniel, who does work in social work in the US. She's going to join us, and that's in a very, very special segment, which is called Dumplings from the Diaspora. Okay. I love it. I love that name. Thanks to Glenn Murray, is the one who gave us that name. Dumplings from the Diaspora. Right, whether it's cornmeal dumpling, it's dumpling like I did some soup today with some whole wheat flour dumpling. What do you put in your dumpling? Well, we're gonna have some dumplings from the diaspora this evening, and we're going to have Michelle Daniel, who is going to be speaking to us parents, those of you who work with young people. We're going to look at the dangers and the risks of Molly. We're also going to introduce a new segment tonight called Mike on the Move. Okay, Mike on the Move. And today I was in Bridgetown and did some interviews. And so we're going to show you parts of them tonight. And that's a new segment, again, that we're introducing. So we have two new segments, right? Dumplings from the Diaspora. And we also have Mike on the Move. All right. We also have Mr. Senator Ryan Walters is going to join us tonight. And Senator Walters he's going to look at what is happening to us Barbadians as we hear our economists and the prime minister and everybody boasting about the reserves. But what's happening to us in order for us to have this great reserve, the high reserve? We believe that as Barbadians, we've been put under severe financial stress. And so Senator Ryan Walters is going to come in at 8:30 to talk to us about that tonight. We're going to have our discussion. And believe it or not, we are going to open the lines. I want to hear from you. I have not heard from you in so long. And whatever happens tonight, 9:30, it's your time. Okay? At 9:30, it's going to be your time. All right. So right now we're going to go right into the anthem, but of course, not before I do some greeting. Okay. Can't do a whole lot of greeting tonight, but I've got to greet my people: Lucinda, Teroni, Judy Jilks. I was so glad to be able to call Judy's name. Judy, we're happy that you're out of the hospital. Queen B, Vernon Garnes, Joy and Faith. Hey girl. Nat Grant, Mavis Lashley, how are you? Beverly Prescott, Marcia, how are you? Flo Joe Maloney, I love that name. Sandra Charles, how are you doing, Sandra? Nikki Tay, Camillus, Happy New Year, Camillus. Vihoy, how are you? From the diaspora as well. And she comes with her, she drops her dumplings on us all the time. Dumplings from the diaspora. We're not calling them dumplings. It's a sweetness that they bring from the diaspora. That's the dumpling. We all love dumplings, right? Cami, good evening, Cami. How are you? Thank you for what you did for that lady. Well, I hope it was delivered. I haven't heard from her, so I'm hoping it's delivered. Judith Ann Clark, how you doing, Judith Ann? Oh my, we were talking about you. Lumumba and I were talking about you today. You're such a strong woman. Sharon Innes, Mystic Angel, how are you? Pete Way. I don't think I've seen Pete Way in a long time. Pete Way, it is great to have you here tonight. And listen, while I was in town, I met up on CG. CG does all of our placards and etc. She makes us look good when we're out there for the marches. And she said, "What's happening, Marcia? When are we going to have our another march?" And so she's all into it. But you're gonna hear all of that's coming up, right? Yeah, yes, wonderful, wonderful. Well, guys, it is time for the national anthem, and we are going to stand at attention to the playing of the national anthem. Loyal opposition, loyal opposition, fall in line, fall in line. Barbados, the change starts with us. It's a community. It's us taking action. It's us taking responsibility. And that's what I feel every time that I listen to the national anthem or I sing it. I believe that, Marcia, there's something for you to do in Barbados. Do you get that feeling? Do you get that feeling of patriotism, of love of country, and wanting to take responsibility? Do you get that feeling of community? Do you get that feeling of action? If not us, then who? And if not now, then when? This is the time. This is the time for us to take responsibility. The time to take responsibility. You know, this is what patriotism is all about. This is what love of country is all about. Something is wrong, we come together and we fix it. Yes, and that's what's happening right here on the Marcia Week Show, where we educate, we agitate, we motivate, we mobilize Africa and the African diaspora. That includes Barbados. Yes, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, before we go any further, I want to make a couple of announcements. All right. Now, remember that on February 16th, everybody say February 16th. We don't have the flyer yet, so you're going to have to help me. On February 16th, something major is happening. Who can tell me what's happening? February 16th, we go to Joe's River. We will be at Joe's River, and we are going to enjoy ourselves at Joe's River, just like our ancestors did. You want to bring some clothes and wash them? You might not want to wash your clothes, but I thought, I said, listen, I might just bring something and wash in the water. Just symbolic, because that's where life was. That's the life revolved around the water. Roadside Parliament is going to be Roadside Parliament. Thank you, Vihoy. Come to the front of the class. Roadside Parliament is going to be at Joe's River. And why are we at Joe's River? We are telling the colonizer no. Dave, can you run that video? Just play it without the audio so we remind the people. We telling that colonizer no. Our mother bathed down there. Our great grandmother bathed down there. Great grandfather bathed down there. They washed down there. They cook down there. They set a fire down there. We telling the colonizer. Let's tell the colonizer. That's our heritage and our birthright. Every drop of water in that river, every stone in that river. We are going down to Joe's River. Joe's River is calling. Tell the colonizer no. Barbados on February 16th at 3 p.m. at Joe's River. We are telling the colonizer no. And we are saying to our government, who they are part of, they're behaving like the colonizer. What about us? When you sell it off and you sell it off to foreigners, what do? What about us? That is what's happening on February 16th. We say, hell no. How many of you are coming? How many of you are going to come? Get dressed and come down. Walk with a little bowl and spoon for your soup, because we're going to cook like our ancestors did. The riverbank, that's where the life happened, at the riverbank, you know. Yes, our ancestors, they washed there. They cooked there. They sat down and they limed there under the trees. Life happened right there at Joe's River. They came for water. Do you understand? And so we're going to occupy. We're going to occupy Joe's River. So we want you to bring the children. It's going to be a great experience for them. We're trying to get some drummers to be there. Yes? We're getting some drummers. And when we finish this, we're going to find ourselves down at the HOLETOWN CIVIC CENTRE. We're finding ourselves down at the HOLETOWN CIVIC CENTRE. We are telling the colonizers, those that want to give us, push us inland. They don't want us to do nothing with water. We must not we must be pushed inland. Tell the colonizers no. You ready? Mystic said they're ready to camp out at Joe's River. We're going to talk about this a little later, but I'm asking you, everybody, get the children dressed. Come down. It's a worthy cause. It's a worthy cause. I tell you this. You understand me? This is important, folks. Don't find any excuse. Get it, carpool, right? Get with somebody and get down there. And you know how it is. If it is a case we have enough people and you need a bus, you know we're going to provide a bus for you. Those of you who don't drive, we always, the loyal opposition always find a way for you. So just let us know in the early, do you need a bus? Do we have enough people? If we have at least 30 something people, we can get a bus. Say about 30 persons, we get a bus. And everybody else who can drive, put somebody in your car and come down. Go to church, and pray for protection and everything and ask God to bless it. But let me tell you something. When you don't pray, get out. Barbados, the change starts with us. Occupy. And as long as colonizers are putting tape and trying to block us from Joe's River, as long as they're doing this, we will occupy Joe's River. Gabby has a song. He said, "Da beach is mine." And don't criticize my Bajan accent tonight. Da beach is mine. Da water is mine. Da river is mine. Cup of tea, cup and saucer is free. I'm switching Jamaican. Yeah? It belongs to us. It is our fields and our hills. And we need to say that as long as we are living, as long as the blood of our ancestors run in our veins, there is no colonizer that is going to come here and take anything from us. Wherever you are, say no to the colonizer. Say no. Everybody say no. Open your mouth and say no. Send it out into the atmosphere. Let it change the atmosphere. You know, when you speak things out, wherever they are, they need to quiver right now. We are powerful people. We are powerful. And do not let our ancestors be ashamed of us. They bathe down there. They wash the clothes down there. They had social activities right there at the river. Huh? That is ours to enjoy. And enjoy we will. And when we are done with this, we are going right up there at the Civic Center. We go occupy. Tell the colonizer no. That's it. Right now for me. That's good, Tony Paris. I need to come off this topic because this gets me really riled up because I don't know where they come from. Where they come from. Right now. After you right now, make plans to come down. Walk with a little bowl to get a little soup and a spoon. We're going to cook. I would love for to symbolically wash some clothes down there in the water. Their plan is to remove us from all the best places in Barbados. We must not have it. As Senator Haynes says, what about us? Leave something for us. I don't get enough no's in the chat to move on. And have we shared and liked? Correct. Correct. We have some black colonizers as well. Well, we're coming for all of them. You could be Chinese colonizer, black colonizer, white colonizer, whatever kind of colonizer you are, we are coming for you. And when we say that, we don't have to be violent. We just have to be resolute. We just have to stand strong. We just have to be bold. We just have to make up our minds. Yeah. All right. Now, the next thing I want to talk to us about is the porridge product, the feeding program in Kenya. So we have a beautiful poster, and thanks to Lisa for doing the poster for us. And This is our poster here that you're going to see around, and we're going to ask you to share it. There's some of you who started to donate, and it's for one bowl of porridge before school. We are seeking to fuel young minds and bodies to thrive and succeed. And all of you know that we went to Kenya, Dave and we met these wonderful people in a very rural village in Maturu in Kenya. And so we formed a joint partnership with the Maturu Primary School in Kenya, and we are supporting them. We've gotten donations already. We still need a lot more because what we want to do, just for a couple cents a day, one bowl of sorghum, which is what's the name of that? Guinea corn, which we eat at Christmas time. Our ancestors are familiar with it, and so we eat guinea corn at Christmas time, but it's very, very nutritious, extremely. I was reading up on it this week, listening to videos on it, and so they are going to, through our help and the school, because we're working together with the school, we will provide a bowl of porridge. If you're interested in donating to this, give me a call, 236-7000, 1-246-236-7000. And there is a PayPal, step-by-step-films@gmail.com, step-by-step-films@gmail.com. And everything is right here. It's there on the flyer, and you can give us a call, and we will be able to organize you and be able to tell you how to think. Okay, so it's a bowl of porridge. This is my I drink my porridge out of this. We made porridge yesterday. Cornmeal porridge though, but this is my actually got this soup bowl when we went down to St. Joseph. Right, one of the times we went down to St. Joseph, and we had a cookout down there. You know, I like anything like that. So this is my calabash, here. All right, I'm walking with a calabash on Sunday to eat my soup on the 16th. You will see I will have my calabash. All right, each of us in the family, we have a calabash. All right, okay, all right. And I want to tell you about Amaya just before Michelle Daniel comes, and we have 3 minutes. Yes, okay, right. The poster, the one we showed, didn't have the details and contact information. All right. So as we're finished this, before the night is up, Angel Humble, I think I showed the wrong poster. And so we will have that. It's hot off the press, okay? We will have that one ready. So guys, this is an update on Amaya. And we are still awaiting results from the hospital to know if her sister is a match. So her father is a match. Yay! And the arrangements are being made with the hospital in Colombia, right? At the hospital in Colombia. We're being told that all the arrangements are being made. We can smile. We can put a smile on our faces, right? Yeah. And it says the update I got says we're thrilled to share that the surgery to save Amaya has been accepted by the hospital in Colombia. Her father is a match for the liver transplant. However, he's not the same blood type as his daughter. The Colombian surgical team has requested a backup donor with the same blood type in case Amaya's little body rejects the transplant. We are waiting for details to share with potential donors from the head of Amaya's local medical team. The doctor must first secure approval from the QH administration before discussing the liver donating process specific to Amaya's case with the public, including potentially they're thinking they might be coming on the show if they did not get a donor. If the daughter is not a donor, they might become on the show, on the Marcia Week show, to ask if people want to test if they're a donor. Okay. They say we want to thank everyone for your continued love, prayers, and support throughout this journey. Your encouragement means the world to Amaya and her family. And the hospital has now, they've agreed. This is what we've been told. I have not seen it in writing, but we've been told that the hospital is going to take care of all the direct expenses. So what they have received is going to be used for all the aftercare when in the recovery, when because can you imagine if three members of the family are sick, if you have or had an operation, so it'd be Amaya, her father, hopefully her sister is able to be a donor as well. And so they would be traveling. They need things like their suitcase and just things just to that they're comfortable and so on. And so a lot of the donations would be used to help them before they go, to prepare them, and then also so for expenses while they're there. So because the hospital is going to deal with the direct expenses, you see. So we thank you for your donations, those of you who donated to Amaya. But we wanted to tell you thanks. And they sent a special thanks to the Marcia Week Show for our support of Amaya. And thank you all so very much. Okay. God bless you. Okay. All right. So tonight we have with us Michelle Daniel, and I'm going to ask that we get an opportunity to see her bio, a little bit of her bio tonight before she comes to us. Michelle Daniels, she says she's from St. Joseph and migrated with her father to the Bronx, where I attended public school. After completing my education, I began my career in public service, dedicating 20 years as an emergency medical technician with the New York City Fire Department. I served the same community where I was raised, provided life-saving medical care, responded to critical emergencies, and played a key role in crisis management and emergency coordination. Throughout my time at the FDNY and working in other public safety management positions, I gained extensive leadership experience in both field operations and emergency communications. I was responsible for managing high-pressure dispatch operations at one of the busiest emergency communication centers in the country, handling over 1.5 million emergency calls annually. Additionally, she's trained in emergency medical, trauma, transport, pharmaceutical training, call center management. This woman is, she is qualified to do what she is here to do. And I would say, without further ado, I just want to welcome Miss Michelle Daniel once again to the Marcia Week Show. And this is our segment, Dumplings from the Diaspora. Welcome again, Michelle. You're muted.
Good night, Barbados. Thank you, Marcia. I want to thank the Marcia Week Show for this opportunity. Marcia, I just want to clear up a couple of things. I couldn't do this alone. This is a team. I enjoyed my time at the New York City Fire Department, and we work as a team. So I just want to thank everyone who I've worked with and anyone who've given me an opportunity to be my best at the fire department. It's a membership, and you're always a member. Even though I'm not an active member, I've retired. We're always a member there.
Wow, that is wonderful. And Michelle, I have to ask you, do you have any intentions of coming back to join us here in Barbados, returning to Barbados?
I've been in Barbados. I'm a pretty private person, so I don't let everyone know
Okay.
when I'm moving.
All right,
So
no problem.
I've been in Barbados. I was in Barbados the entire time during COVID. I was in Barbados the whole pandemic. You swimming from 6 to 9.
Yeah.
Alphabet shopping. You only shopped. I was in Barbados the entire time.
Yes,
All of
yes,
that.
yes.
So I understand the situation that the government was in. We have never been in that kind of that situation, and you only do the best that you can do with what you have at the time.
Yes. Well, we're always happy to connect with the diaspora. I always say, when you're in the diaspora, you have your experience is so wide and varied, and Dave and I have lived in the diaspora and we realize that. And we often say when your mind is expanded, it doesn't come back, right?
It's a
So
total
we're
different
happy.
animal.
It doesn't. And so we're happy to be able to pick your brain tonight
Sure,
and for you to be able to share with us, Michelle,
sure.
what you have experienced and learned in this particular area, in drug prevention, drug education, etc. I'm going to ask everybody to, as Dave is setting up the presentation, ask everybody to share the live. Share the live, guys. We are really low tonight. What's happening? Please share the live. We're asking you to share the live. I know it's Friday night, but we need you to share and to like. Okay, we need you to push this. We are definitely too low tonight. Okay, all right. Wonderful, wonderful. Michelle, also, I want to thank you for your assistance with the cybercrime bill presentation in Washington. You played a significant role, and I want to say thank you.
That was my honor and pleasure. I have an education in public administration. Right now, I'm getting my master's in public administration. So since I've left, working in the field, I just want to work, making good policy. So
Yes.
that's my next step in public service.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Well, you're here tonight to talk to us about the risks and the dangers of Molly.
Yes.
Parents, guardians, teachers, those who care for children and young people, grandparents, aunties, uncles, please listen keenly. Please send the link to someone. Very, very important. Over to you, Michelle.
Can you just play the video first?
Okay, so you want the video? Want us to
Yes,
play the
please.
video first?
Yes, please.
Most definitely. And in the meantime, guys, in the meantime, we're asking you to like and to share. Like and share in the meantime. Very, very important. This session is quite important. Today there was a peace march in the in town. We'll talk about that later, but the video is ready, so we'll go right ahead.
Statistics say that in 2021, approximately 2.2 million people in the country had used ecstasy over the last year. This illegal drug might seem alluring because of the feelings it prompts. However, the risks and side effects of MDMA are not to be dismissed. In fact, the use of this drug can end in death. In this article, we'll discuss what ecstasy is, how users consume it, the side effects, getting drug tested for MDMA, how it affects the human brain, and more. So keep watching. What is ecstasy? 3,4-methylene dioxymethamphetamine. It's the very long name for MDMA, also commonly called ecstasy and Molly. This synthetic drug acts on your mood and perception. In other words, your awareness of the things happening around you. In terms of its chemical structure, MDMA is similar to stimulants and hallucinogens. In the human brain, it increases the activity of dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin, which helps explain its impact on mood. More on that in a moment. Initially, MDMA was most common in the nightclub scene and at raves. For this reason, combining MDMA with alcohol, which is even more dangerous, is quite common. However, MDMA is now more widespread and abused by people outside of these environments. Although it commonly comes in tablet form, the Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, says that MDMA can also be consumed in capsule, liquid, or powder form. Pills often contain somewhere between 80 milligrams and 125 milligrams of MDMA. However, the dosage can vary widely. MDMA pills might have no pure MDMA in them, or they could contain 180 milligrams. Additionally, they might be cut with another drug, so you don't truly know what you're getting in a single pill. As we said a moment ago, this drug affects the dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin in your brain. Here's why that matters. Dopamine gives you increased energy and triggers the reward system in your brain to reinforce that behavior of taking the drug. Norepinephrine leads to increased heart rate and blood pressure. Remember, a rise in blood pressure can lead to all sorts of dangers, including an increase in your chance of heart attack and stroke, heart disease, and kidney damage. And serotonin impacts your mood, sleep, appetite, trust, and sexual arousal. This is why the side effects of ecstasy include feelings of increased energy, heightened pleasure, a sense of emotional warmth, and distorted time and sensory perception. Other examples of drugs with stimulant effects include bath salts and amphetamines.
Thank you for that, Marcia. Um, this video, well, matter of fact, let me clear something up. I am not a doctor. I am not a nurse. I'm a person that dealt with, a lot of drug overdose. I see the after effects of what these drugs do. Pre-hospital treatment, overdose, death, and this is how I can give my experience or my knowledge towards this topic. After Mr. Rowe discussed, how young children are getting access to this drug, I decided to started to do a little bit of research about it. I find that it responds just like some other drugs, but the only problem with this is this was just what they called a party drug. And um, as far as let me look at some of the slides. Send some of the slides. Thanks. Yeah, this was considered a party drug, but this drug has been around since like 1914. It was used in psychiatric medicine until they found out they had no real use in that industry. So then it became other things. It's cut with, let's say, things like bath salt, Epsom salt, all types of under the sink um, chemicals that they use. So when you take these drugs, you don't really know what exactly you're getting. So sometimes the drug may have a certain level, and the other times it may have nothing in it. So that's when people overdose because they want that sensation of euphoria, and they continue to just take the medication, not medication, but take the drug, synthetic drug at that until they feel something and possibly overdose. Some of the pitfalls of this drug is absolutely crazy. You can um your like kidney failure, seizures, um have your entire body can shut down using this drug. So this is why we think that it's important to talk about it, because if children get this in their hands, and it's easy because the way it looks like candy, looks like tablets, looks like anything that a child would get their hands on. Tonight, we want to discuss how they're able to get access to this drug, because this is not a drug that you can like pick up in the store. It's not like a cigarette. Someone has to be bringing it, in the vicinity for children to get their hands on these type of tablets. One of the things that I found that was striking to me about this drug is that hold on one second. When used with alcohol, it increases or it elevates the activity that the drug is going to do to your body. So that's why it is meant not to be mixed with anything, and it's already mixed with chemicals in the drug. Another thing is it causes your body to have like sweats, causing what they call hyperthermia, not hypothermia, yet super hot. This is where part where the organ failure starts, is where you overwork your kidneys, overwork your organs, and this is where it's absolutely close to death. Now, some of the stuff that I've seen children at school with strange behavior, uh, dry mouth, all of a sudden have some dental problem. Let's see what else. Vomiting maybe. Um, Super excited, absolutely no reason. So these are the things that you would have to look for and see if possibly a child has gotten access to these drugs. One of the things I wanted, Marcia, move to the next slide, please. Oh, okay. This slide here discusses how long it's been around. It's been around since around 1912, 1914. I think it was patented. In the 70s, it became a popular drug for psychiatry. So by the 80s and 90s, this is the stuff that they use, and sometimes used to put in like a woman's drink in a club. Um, Used definitely like when you see activities like Coachella, where there's a whole crowd of people, a constant partying for days at a time. These are specifically the type of drugs that you find in those places. Now, how they've moved from just a party drug to outside is where the problem are. College students use them to get through long hours of studying. This is how college students become interested, or they want to. I got they're cramming. Sorry, they're cramming. They want to stay up, study, cram for a test. This is how college students get involved in this drug. So this is where the drug has left the party scene and now have moved into mainstream and then possibly into people's homes. How they get into homes? Through old young adults. Young adults have the drug. Young adults leave the drug laying around. Parents use the drug also. This is not mutually exclusive to people who have overachievers. Overachievers want to get things done. They will use this type of drug because it keeps you up, keeps you active, keeps you moving. So there have been professionals who've been on this type of drug. This here becomes a problem because in the home, once it's introduced to the home, the children now become addicted to the drug. The children, mothers, pregnant women use this drug. They're gonna have problems. The children are gonna have like motor sensory problems when they're born. I have seen pregnant women have an emergency. I don't know why the emergency is, why they or preeclamptic, or why some of the situations where they have early births. A lot of times when you have drug users, they're not going to tell you exactly what they're using. They will use a drug like this instead of using a needle, because needle leaves marks. Needle leaves shows that they've been on a drug, and a lot of times they are in programs and they cannot, it can't be visible what type of drug they're using, so they will use this type of drug. I'm most concerned about it in homes. The reason it's in home, because children cannot go out. You cannot go out and buy this stuff. Someone has to be bringing it to the home for the children to get access to. Some of the effects that are really concerning and what parents should be looking for is overactivity, nausea, sense of sweating for no reason, forgetfulness, and it also affects if someone has anxiety or depression. I cannot say that I've actually saw children. Let me see how to explain. How the best way to explain. I can't actually say that I've seen children. How children have gained access. That's what I want to say. How children have gained access to this. But I know from entering people's homes and entering questioning, en route to the hospital, how someone got access to this medication. I'm sorry, to this drug. I don't keep saying a medication because it's not a medication. It is cut with other under the counter products. I can't say how children get access to this, but I have to ask questions. When we enter the hospital, the staff wants to know how this is considered a poisoning. So how the person got access to it and how much have they used? We can't ever give that answer. Can't give any answer of how many tablets they're taking, how long they've been using it, because honestly, no one's going to be truthful about it. No one's going to say, I brought it into house. It's always a mystery. So what we do is we go on signs and symptoms and we look for behavioral changes amongst teenagers. teenagers who have once with star students, A students, athletes, good grades, and then all of a sudden they can no longer function. They're getting D's, they're not getting up. This is what we look for. You can move to the next slide. The reason I really wanted to come on here tonight is this is a little different in Barbados than it is on the outside and in the US. The reason I say that is because we have to understand how it's getting in the household. When we have households with older children, let's say you have 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 20-year-olds in the home. This is sometimes the access that the younger child gets. The younger child knows where the things are that belongs to the older child. Parents bring them home, leave them sitting around, children get access to them. Depending on how much they have, do anyone knows if they can recognize a tablet is missing? So this is how children get access to this drug. I'm particularly concerned because I understand that it's a different type of care in Barbados versus the outside, meaning how people are educated in reference to what to look for. So it is important that we have some sort of PSA, some sort of drug awareness, some sort of like community engagement about our older children bringing things into the home that allows the younger children to get access. After I watched the like Christmas list and listened to Mr. Rowe, it made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense about um the availability in Barbados. Even though that this drug is, let's say it's about 20 years, like this is not what they're using now. Now they're using e-cigarettes and vape pens. Even though this may be still in the party scene, this is not the major thing that we see. We're definitely seeing e-cigarettes and vape pens. That's the new thing. But in Barbados, as far as Mr. Rowe was saying, we have to educate the parents on what to look for, on how to assess the child's behavior, how to assess the older children. You have older children in the home, how to assess their behavior. I know one thing, and I'm going to say this because I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent, so I'm not excluded from the situation. And anything I say here, it goes for me also. I would not say it without meaning it for myself. I know as parents, we work and we allow our older children to monitor and take care of our younger children. Say you have a 15-year-old, you got a 10-year-old, 11-year-old. Those are the tender years. They're very influenced by their older sibling, so they will do what the other sibling does. We have to ask and we have to monitor our older children also, because they're the ones that bring it home to create the problem for the younger child. Now, I say this with a lot of love, and I say this because, like I said, I was a working parent. I left mine home, what we call latchkey. I left mine home to work. And I'm out saving somebody else, solving somebody else's problems, and I have children at home too. But one thing I did do was I checked rooms, I checked closets, I checked backpacks, those type of things. Now we have phones and cell phones and all these other things to worry about. The reason I say this is because we have to, we trust our older children to even bring our younger children home, to feed them when we're running late, feed them in the evening, pick them up and drop them off. Those children that are being taken care of by the older children, they get to see a lot. That is important for parents to understand. I know like every household cannot have a separate room for the younger children versus the old. That's I understand that part. I understand economics. Everyone can't have their own room, but we have to think about what we allow our children from the other children, our big children, to see. Okay, those are the let's say 10-year-olds know what the 16-year-old is up to. When you want to look for your older child, to ask the 10-year-old, because he can tell you, oh, he's at his friend's house. Oh, he's with this girl. I completely understand that. So when we think about allowing our older children to monitor our younger children, this is what we have to consider. We have to consider that the older child is outside. We sometimes don't know what they're doing, okay? And that influence comes in your home. And now the younger child, would just say 10, those are they're influenced by what the other older child is doing. I see someone put some stuff. Well, they will use a lot of street drugs in the US. Yes, that is correct. They use prescription drugs, they use marijuana. Now the biggest thing, yes, is fentanyl. That's absolutely true. We're talking about this drug because this is the one apparently is prevalent amongst young people in Barbados right now. I understand fentanyl may not have reached Barbados yet, the vaping may not have reached Barbados yet, but if we get into a pattern of asking our children what they've been up to, where they've been, and speaking to their friends, understanding what they do, this is how we can combat this problem. You need to know what the children are up to. You need to know where they're going. This is how we solve this problem of allowing things, to come into our homes. I find that from 8 years old to, let's say, 13, we call that middle school. There's a reason why middle school is separate from high school students. You really do not want your 15 and 16-year-old, and their friends communicating with your 8-year-old. The 8-year-old needs to have time to grow, needs to have time to develop, but he doesn't need to be influenced by the conversations of our 16-year-olds and our older children. It's difficult at home, so that's why I said we have to stay on top of it. Oh, another thing that I found is that as parents, we really use our older children to do a lot of our bidding, and we trust that that the older child is going to do, let's say, the right thing. But it's not necessarily, they may not even know that they're doing it. They may be just so into their friends, so into what their behaviors are, that they don't even realize that they have influenced the 10-year-old. For example, I've seen older students picking up their younger student. I hear how they speak to their friends on their way home, but you have the 6-year-old, 7-year-old listening, hearing all of this conversation things when they talk about girls, the girls are talking about boys. This is what we have to worry about, and this is how these things influence the younger generation. Marcia?
Yeah, I am just sitting here and just thanking you so much. I'm like, you hear about the drug. I've heard about Molly, and it wasn't until I started to research and you came and confirmed that it's the same as ecstasy. Because some of us, we live in a bubble and we don't really know what is happening. That's why it is so important, Michelle, for people to share this. Even after the show is finished, ask somebody, tell parents, listen, go and listen, because we're able to, Dave, if you could put up this slide again, that has the, what we're to look for. I think that is important because I got educated tonight, right? Look at the signs. That take a screenshot of this, parents. I'm one of those parents, Michelle, who used to search the bags. I search their room. I search underneath the bed. Exactly. I search. I listen. Exactly. My children were, they were all had to do their prayers and Bible. I don't care how much prayer Bible you're reading. I am searching your bag. Exactly. I'm looking in your shoes. I am going through your closet. I'm going underneath the bed. I'm in the pockets when you have to wash the clothes. I'm doing all of that, so I'm the same. With you.
I do the exact same thing. I have an 8-year-old grandson. He has an older brother who's 18. I hear his language when he returns from visiting his brother. I hear the language. He sounds like he's 18. That's the kind of influence. I'm happy that the older child is not, involved in anything, but I can hear the influence him already. He can tell me exactly what his older brother has been up to. That's the type of influence that our older children bring to our younger, and this is how it gets in the home.
Yeah. Anybody else learned anything tonight? I didn't know about these. As somebody said, you can Google it. But it's right here, so you could just take a screenshot of it and use this information. Okay. Someone here, though, Reginald Haynes, good night, Reginald, is saying something very important. He said, we're speaking of sibling influence, which is important, but the parents themselves are exposing their children to all manner of things, even before they get it in the school or the streets.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. I was saying that this is not something that children go out and buy. Somehow or another, it's getting into the home, whether it is the parent who was already on it. I discussed parents who are what would you call them? Overachievers. Like they're doctors, things like that. Doctors, people are overachievers. You have students who are studying for major exams. Yes, the older siblings, excuse me, and the parents, yes, can bring this in and have it laying around. It looks like candy. It looks like, whatever these candies that the children eat. It does, and it can cause serious effect and brain damage, seizures, and
I'm sorry. I thought you were finished. I'm so sorry. Continue, please.
Brain damage, seizures, organ failure, death.
Wow. But I was saying, Michelle, Miss Danielle, when you think that this is inside a 7-year-old body, and if we're to take the National Council on Substance Abuse, so what they said, and they're doing their research, and they're saying as young as 7 years old, that these children are exposed to this drug at 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 years old. We're talking about is that class 1 or class 2? Try and imagine. Michelle, I mean, this is crazy.
Here, a 7-year-old is about a first grader. They have kindergarten, first grade, about a second grader, first grade, second grade. That would be about the time that they start walking home. They can walk home by themselves if they live close enough to the school. But this is also when, they're outside, they're experiencing other things outside and are influenced. They could be influenced by other students. Students bring it to school.
Now in Barbados, I'm told the guys tell me that it sells for about either $15 to $20 is what it's sold for. And they're saying that some of those children that you see, they are gambling, that they gamble, and that's how they get the money to go to buy this. Those that are on the street. But it's not, it's not a cheap drug, they're saying.
That's why I would say that, yes, highly than likely, they're getting it through older people. I don't necessarily think like a 7-year-old has a wad of cash and who can, they accidentally pick it up. They see it at home. They see it in a little baggie. They see thinking it's candy and they start using.
Yeah. The other thing, Michelle, that I was listening to some of the songs coming out of Jamaica, and the songs that are coming out of Jamaica, a lot of those songs are encouraging the use of Molly.
Well, here also, you have to say that Miley Cyrus has like one of the biggest hits in the U.S. talking about Molly. And like I said,
encouraging it or telling them not to use it?
Neither one. Just singing about what, Molly, just singing it. It's just part of the lyrics. It's just part of the lyrics. It's considered a party drug.
Wow. This is and what the police is saying is that, and I've seen this online, is that what they do is that when they take the Molly, according and the songs talk about it as well. The songs tell you what happens when they take the Molly. When they take the Molly, there is no sense of danger, is what they're saying, and this is why they are able to take up a gun and just empty the bullets. I know of a young guy, he died, and another young man, 16 years old, empty out, and he got 40 something shots. And we're being told that they're taking these drugs and it causes them to lose inhibition.
So that's the euphoria part. You feel like
Euphoria.
invincible.
Okay.
You feel
Mm.
invincible at that point. The activity, your constant movement, your heart rate is going on, you're sweating, you just feel like you can do anything, say anything, and nothing matters.
Ah, so that's where they, because some of these killings that you're seeing and the way that they are conducting themselves, it doesn't make sense. It feels like they're being animals. But now we understand if you're under the influence and of a drug like this that gives you that euphoria, give you that removes inhibitions, then you're going to
Exactly.
feel that you could walk in a mall and you could just spray everybody with bullets and probably it's after it's done, then they're thinking about the consequences.
Absolutely. But when they come down from the high, they take another one. They like it. They take another one. This is where leading to the overdose happens because
Mm,
you don't know how long it's going to last. It's going to last 3 hours. It's going to last 12 hours. It's going to last into the next day, next week. Constant building up in your system, and this is where the overdose happens.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Somebody's saying, how are the drugs coming in? Something like this, though, can it be made in can people actually make it in Barbados, or does it need to come in from overseas?
Well, a possibility because it is to stretch the drug. They use bath salt. They use
They use
Epsom
what?
salt, bath salts,
Oh.
bath salt, those type of things. Bath salts, Epsom salt. Those are the type they use to cut the drug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Joshua, yes, so it is used for people to party and so on. But what the reports are saying is that it causes them to lose inhibition, gives them euphoria, which can cause them to just feel like they could do whatever they want. That is what Michelle is saying, and it's online as well, and it's also chronicled in the song. So it's not that everybody who takes Molly is going to go and shoot up a place. It
Correct.
is that you have the propensity to do that because you've lost inhibition. Yeah.
You have a propensity to do anything. Anything that's out of character, you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the people who are selling it, they will put all kinds of things in it because they want it's a business and they want to stretch it, right?
They stretch it with anything. That's why you don't know what you're taking. I find that like women who have been seem like they've been drugged or something ends up in their drink. This is something. This is not like complicated. It melts. Put it in something, and you just drink it. That's why they said alcohol increases. Alcohol increases your inhibitions. Alcohol makes it worse. Alcohol makes it absolutely dangerous.
Yeah. This person, Coco, no, I don't agree with you because I've read that. I've read what it does to people, and I've listened to what's coming out of Jamaica. If you listen to the young people, they'll tell you the place that is pushing the Mali is Jamaica. I've spoken to people who are doing work in Jamaica, and this is what they've said, that I don't know if something else that they're putting in the drug, but the young people they lose inhibition, and it can cause. It doesn't mean that everybody who does it that's what they're going to do, and it doesn't mean that Molly is behind every shooting. But the facts are the facts. Okay, so this is based on the research that I've done about the drug. Anything you want to say about that, Michelle?
I just want parents to be absolutely on the lookout because it may look like other things. You may think the child is just misbehaving, like we don't know that child has been taking any kind of tablets. So we have to be able to sit down and weed through some of these things, some of the behaviors, and maybe they have to go to the doctor, maybe they have to be tested. But if you find things at home, we just can't like ignore it. We can't just like say, you know what? I don't think this is this because sometimes we are in denial. Sometimes we're in denial about a lot of things about our children. We want our children to be the best. We never want them to be the worst. So we are in denial sometimes, and we have to say to ourselves, like there's a possibility when your child leaves home. Well, let's say 5 years old, your child goes to daycare, to preschool. After that child has from birth to about 4 or 5 years old, and it steps outside of the home and goes to school for the first time, anything is possible. You've introduced the entire world to the child. anything is possible after that. So we always have to say, you know, there's a possibility that the child may be on drugs, and we have to do things necessary. Now, when it comes to what to do if you see foaming at the mouth, you see seizures, you see this is an absolute emergency. You have no choice but to call for an ambulance. You have no choice but somehow or another to get the child to the hospital, because there's nothing that you can do. You'll see the child sweating. You have to do something to lower the temperature in the body. Cool rags, and transport immediately, because shortly after the body overheats, but so much, let's say 43 Celsius, that's super high. Then we go into other things: brain damage, organ failure, seizures, unconsciousness, and that may not be able to reverse.
Yeah. Well, Michelle, I just want to thank you so much for starting this conversation, because we've spoken about it, but we've spoken around it. And so this is the first in-depth conversation that we are having on this particular topic. And I just want to say to you, thank you so very much for being in our in this segment, which is dumplings from the diaspora.
Marcia, I also want to say that on the DEA website, I think that we can drop some of those links. They do have an awareness kit. You know how pamphlets with all the things to look at, they do have an awareness kit that you can download, you can print, you can hand those out. Because like I said, this drug is not really like what's going on here in the US. Like, it's still probably mostly in the party scene, but you know, the drug scene is totally different now. But they do still have kits on their website. That's the DEA, their website. I think I put that on the first slide.
Yes.
And you can go and look at the kit and what to do, what to look for, and how to prevent it, especially for going to rehab.
Yes. Thank you so much, Michelle. It's a pleasure having you tonight. And we learned so much. And it's just the beginning. We'll continue the discussion. So thank you so much, Michelle. God bless you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, tonight, guys, we are in education mode. And I think I love this, that we are learning new things. One of the things I would love to do is to, I have to get some editing done to some of the songs that have this in it, and that's coming from Jamaica. The thing is, you got to keep your ears to the ground and listen to the young people. And they are able to tell us a lot of what exactly is going on. So I want to thank Michelle so very much. At this time, we have a segment called Mike on the Move. And so today I was in Bridgetown, and we, there was a rally that was put on with the police service, along with, I believe it was the peace program. And I'm still yet to get confirmation about that, which I'm going to give you before the night is up. But whoever put it on, I think that it's a brilliant idea, where schools were brought out to do a march, an anti-violence march. And so, I found my way down there because I thought that was important. All right, so let's watch a little bit of it, a couple minutes of it. Go ahead, Dave.
Sorry, I'm just Barbados fast service. But yeah. Get through it, talk this phone, so we just say, can you tell me how bad?
Can I see your? Let
me go walk up. You got scared for me.
Thank you. Hi, can I see your
Look.
So this is the march that was put on today, and where you have several school. Hello, several school children. You are on the march today. Why are you marching?
Because I have a passion for marching.
Why?
Because I like to see people march and I just like follow on.
You like to follow on. So what about the violence?
I hate violence.
You hate it? Yes. So that's why you're part of this today?
Yes.
You think it's going to make a difference?
Yeah.
What's the name of your school?
St. Mary's Primary School.
St. Mary's Primary School. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Hello. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, hello, ma'am. Yes, I remember you. Can you say a few words to me? Are you? what? Good. The principal. Okay. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you. You're speaking to Marcia Weeks. Hello, how are you doing? I've put on a couple of these marches with the solemn walk, remembering the young men who died. So when I heard of this, I came down today. So this is Mary's Primary School. May I speak to you about why you did it then? Is that okay on my camera? Yeah? Yes, so I'm speaking here with the principal of St. Mary's Primary School, and I am so happy that you guys have done this and involved the children. Can you tell me exactly why you decided to be part of this?
Well, it was organized by the police post near our school.
Yes.
And they visit the community officers. They visit our school quite often. And they invited us to come along to this march. And we thought it was a good idea for the children to learn about peace and to demonstrate to the island and the people that they are about peace. And we are about peace at St. Mary's Primary School. So that is why we took part.
Yes, and are you concerned about what you're seeing? Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
we are. It is 8 or 9 murders.
Eight murders.
Yes, and we all have to be very concerned. Personally, I think that we need to get our people, especially our children, back into church so that they can learn about these things, learn the difference between peace and I don't want to say war, but things that are not peaceful. And that we teach them, we do it in schools, we teach them how to practice peace. Like we say, keep your hands, feet, and objects to yourself.
Wow, so you teach that in school?
Mantra at our school.
Yes. Oh, so say that again?
Keep your hands, feet, and objects to yourself. We talk about using your words instead of picking up an object to hit somebody. So we need to get back, everybody in the society needs to get back to that and to teach it to the children.
Excellent. This is wonderful. And I'm sure you're going to continue what they would have experienced here. You're going to continue it in school. Very good. Awesome. And you thought the children enjoyed it? These are your kids here. How many children you had here today?
We had 6, 7 children.
Yes. Yes.
Myself, the principal, the teachers, and ancillary staff.
Okay. Excellent. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay. God bless.
You too.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes. This is awesome. Awesome work that is happening. And these are all the children. These are the ones from St. Mary's School. They are now just relaxing here in Freedom Park. And it's a beautiful environment here. And this is another school over here. I'm not sure what the name of this school is, but they are just relaxing. The kids are relaxing here after participating in the walk, anti-violence walk. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. You're a teacher?
Yes. Wesley Hall.
Wesley. Oh, this is Wesley Hall, the famous Wesley Hall. This is awesome. This is awesome, sir. Can I talk to you about why you're part of this. Well, you're teaching, so you had to come. But I think, you know what? It's so good to see male teachers. It's really good. Can I put you on camera? Yes. Okay. Good morning, sir. You are a teacher at Wesley Hall School, and what's your name, sir?
My name is Mr. Headley.
Mr. Headley. What do you teach?
I teach music at the school.
Music.
Yes.
Music. Okay. Wonderful. And you're here today at the anti-violence walk.
Yes.
And why have you decided to? Do you think this is something important?
I think it's something very important. If you've seen all that's been happening in Barbados over the last few days, few weeks. So when we heard about it, we were very interested. But I came not just because I wanted, but as part of Class 4.
Yes.
They said they wanted those who are going into secondary school to be part of the march, because we've had the most problems in secondary school.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
before they go, let's see if we can encourage a change.
Yes.
Difference.
And is this something that that you're going to continue in school? Like, what would you say they would have learned here today? And are you going to carry that on in school?
What I hope they learn, and what I'm going to see if they have learned, is there is a place for a public demonstration of this is enough.
Yes.
We've had enough of what's going on. And they're the future, so they're the ones who have to make a change.
The children are speaking. Well, let me tell you, it's great to see male teachers, I have to say.
Okay.
It's a blessing.
It is a blessing.
Yes.
I hope we do more of this, even if it's not on this grand scale.
Yes.
Within the schools.
Within the schools, correct. I think it's awesome.
All
Thank you
right.
so much. Do you know if it'd be okay to speak to a couple of the students? Is that okay? Miss Best?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Miss Best?
See the one right next to the
Oh, beside the police? Okay. Yes, hello, gentlemen. Oh, wow. Again, this is now 3 men I'm seeing here. Awesome. I like the shirts.
Yes, please.
I like the shirts. Wow. Wednesday Hall. Everybody look organized.
Yes, please.
And how important do you think this is today?
Well, given that the business trade appointment in Barbados, we believe it's important to get the children to have some positive vibes.
Yes.
And also in terms of conflict resolution. And hopefully, as they grow up, they will give their children a and we have a more peaceful society in the future. But it's really now in a sad state. We want to start from the bottom.
Yes, and come up. Yes. How about you, sir?
I think it's important as well. These students here will be the future. Also, to not trying to say that their neighborhoods are violent, but a lot of the violence is happening in some of their neighborhoods as well.
Yeah.
And you don't want them to grow up and think that is the ways and means of dealing with whatever situations they have. So I think it's a great initiative, and I hope that we continue to do things like this.
Yes, and how do you plan to continue this in school?
Well, as you realized today, a lot of the students did various posters and so forth. But I believe that the National Peace Program is going to have other initiatives which will be going on throughout the primary schools and secondary schools.
Yes.
I'm not sure if something else along the lines of the Prime Minister's cut. Looking for it,
Right. But just various initiatives.
Yes.
Can I see some of the? Would I be able to see some of the posters?
Posters, sure.
Hello. Good morning. Yes. I was wondering if I could see some of the posters of the children. Yes. Can I see? Some of the posters. Thank you. Can I see? Oh wow, this is very creative. Who did this one?
Our teacher, Miss Swan, along with Phillips.
Yes.
Phillips, and the children did the posters.
Wow, this is awesome. And I hear you're the senior teacher. And what does this mean to you to do something like this today?
I'm very thrilled, honestly. I am very, very thrilled. Because the peace will be gave with these children.
Yes, amen.
We hope they take it with them.
Yes.
Back home, back in the secondary school. and
Yes.
all over Barbados.
Yes, excellent work here at Wesley Hall Primary School. Excellent, ma'am. Thank you so much. What's your name?
Paulette Best.
This is Miss Paulette Best, who's doing an amazing job at Wesley Hall Primary School. Junior school, okay. Wonderful. Oh, wow. Did you all make these? Did you make them? Wow. Oh, my. They're creative. I love how this kind of coming off the page. Save our sons. Peace. Stop. And you have end the violence. You made this one? Did you make this? This is nice though. Stop the violence. You made yours. Very good. Excellent. Ooh, you got some birds on there, butterflies. Okay. This is wonderful, Wesley Hall. Very good job. You guys have done a fantastic job. Awesome. Peace. Hit pause. I want to see it. Well, hold it so I could read it. Is this yours? Let me see yours. No need to kill. Oh, wow. Lift it up. Okay, yes, properly so we can see it. No need to kill. Great job. Can I see? You didn't do this one? Hold it up so we can see. Oh, this is the name there. Okay, Tajir Harper. And then, okay, but you have to turn it the other way. Excellent. Very good. Very good, guys. Oh, this is lovely. Did you make this one? I had a feeling so. You put a lot of thought in it. Very good. Can I see yours? Wow, excellent. Very good job, you know. I love these. Did you make this one? You didn't make this one. Wonderful. Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh boy, this is a deputy head boy here. And this is his no violence. Excellent work. This is awesome. Thank you. Did you do it?
No, my friend did it.
Your friend did it. I like it. I like it. Yes? Holy Procolina, you did this one? Yeah, be proud of it. It's very creative. I know you have the red there because of the blood, right? Very, guys, look at this one. Very creative. You like art? Very good. Great job. Great job. Excellent work. Excellent work. This is awesome, guys. So that's us, Wesley Hall Primary, and we spoke with people at St. Mary's Primary, and I'm not seeing any of the others here, but this is very awesome. There's another school. Okay, so that's it for tonight. We're going to show you some more of this on Sunday and on Monday. Okay, so this is a new segment that we have, Mike on the Move, where we're going to be going out in the field and capturing what's happening in Barbados as it relates to some of the issues that we are dealing with. Did you all enjoy seeing the children? Let me get some comments from you. I want to hear your listen, you all are something else. The little child had the red to mean blood. What are your thoughts about what you've seen? There were a lot of police there. The police, this is organized by the police community post in New Orleans in Barbados. Okay. So it was actually, and this is awesome to see what the police is doing. Isn't this amazing? Come on. And the National Peace Program actually partnered with them. Okay, so we need to give them a little, come on, give them a shout out. The police community post in New Orleans. All right, so they are really the people that put it on. And you know, then the National Peace Program, they also partnered, and that is great. This is what we want to see the National Peace Program partnering with. It was an idea conceived and carried out. There were a lot of police buses there. I'll show you that another time. where you see the children going into the police bus. But yes, now as I walk through town, I went to Swan Street, and I saw this young man, and he was busy selling. He has a business, and he's going to tell you all about it. Just a couple more minutes before Senator Ryan Walters come to us. But let's listen to him. His name is Sonny. So listen to Sonny.
Mr. Sonny, and look at this. I saw him, I didn't know it was an interview, but I got to hear it. Nice black people, one handsome black man, like young black man, like one of my sons. This is beautiful. So let me ask you, I see a message.
Yeah, I think the audio was a bit bad there. Let's see if it changes. So that's him showing me what he's selling. He's selling oils, perfume oils, and he's selling some jewelry there. He said it's not gold, but he's selling. And the point here, Dave, you can run the video, Dave, but stop the audio. Because the audio is bad, but I will just tell you, I'm so sorry the audio is bad, because I want to tell you about this young man. I think he's 24 years old, and he has this business, and the business is right there on Swan Street. I want you to take a good look at him, and if you see him on Swan Street, please go and buy something from him. And one of the things that he said, Senator Ryan is coming on talking about the hardships that Barbadians are under. And he said to me, he said, Ma'am, if things got better in Barbados us financially, Sonny says to me today, he said that he believes that the crime is going to decrease. And he was so sure, but he said, Ma'am, it's too hard. This is what Sonny is saying to me. And we're going to try to work on that audio, because I want you to actually hear what he's saying. Now, I talked to him about the way he, his hair and how great his hair looks and so on, and about school. And I said, could you go to school like this when you were a child? And he says, no, ma'am, I could never. And I said, what do you think about students who are going to school with their hair like this? And he says it doesn't believe it's right. He says, because when they start to wear their hair a certain way, they feel like they're part of the gang culture. And unless you change that mindset from the children, letting them everybody wear their hair the way they want to wear their hair, to his mind, he thinks that something is wrong with that. But he's an entrepreneur. That is so correct. Let me see if the audio is any better. Dave, is it any better? Let's try. No, we're gonna have to probably work on it to try to see if we can get the audio better. But I think I'm not sure, because the other audio was so clear. So I'm really not sure what has occurred there. But this is Sonny, and when you go to Swan Street, listen, when you see these young men and they have their businesses, make an effort to support them. I tried to buy from all of them today. All right. I got something from all of them. Right. Yeah. So we're gonna work on the audio. We're gonna work on the audio and try to improve it so that you can actually hear. And if not right, I'm going to go back. I have his number. We're going to go back and do it right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's welcome to the Marcia Week Show the senator that is, both of them are doing an amazing job in the Senate. This is Senator Ryan Walters, who it's almost a year now that he Honorable Rob Thorne took him into the Senate and, put him in the Senate, and he has grown and doing a great job. He keeps blowing up my newspaper, always have something to say. And tonight, Senator, I want to welcome you again to the Marcia Week Show.
Hi, good night, Marcia, and good night to the listeners once again. It's been
Yes,
is it a week
sir.
now? Yeah,
It's
I think I
1
was here
week. It
last
was
week.
last week.
Yes.
It was the last
Yes.
week. Well,
How are you doing? How are you, Marcia? How are you?
I am doing great. I had a wonderful time in Bridgetown today, talking to people and visit. I attended that march that was put on by the police community post in New Orleans, and
Yes,
I was told that the National Peace Program partnered with the police in getting the whole thing to come off to a success, and I thought that was fantastic. So I had a great day.
Okay, great. Good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, you have a lot on your mind. I know I saw a newspaper article. I don't know if they can put up the article for us, but in that newspaper article, you were talking about the excess reserves costing taxpayers. And I'm like, fantastic. This is great. It's great to educate Barbados on what, when they say, oh, they have all these excess reserves and the reserves are now so high. What does that mean to me, the regular person? What does that mean to Sonny on the streets in in Barbados, selling his selling his perfume oils and so on? What does that mean to people?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you again, Marcia. Good night to your listeners, your audience. Pleasure to be here again. Before we really dive into this, I think it is always appropriate to give some context, and we need to underscore first of all importance of reserves. Reserves are important for us. Foreign reserves are something that is foreign exchange that the government holds, so that the government can pay for goods that come in foreign currency, because almost everything that we have or that we consume in Barbados is imported. And nowadays, that includes food and vegetables and everything. So we have to pay in another currency other than Barbados dollars. So the governments across the region that do not have US currency as a base will hold reserves so that they can facilitate payment of goods and payment of services into the country. So they're held in what they call a U.S. reserve account. Now, traditionally, there are the global benchmark is 12 weeks of reserves.
Yes.
What that means is that there is a specific calculation that says, look, based on your consumption patterns, based on your import patterns, what the wholesalers import, what people import directly, how much foreign exchange the country utilizes in a period of over a period of time, it is estimated that it is X amount of dollars, and so you multiply X amount of dollars times 12 weeks, and that is kind of the global benchmark that a country is expected to hold in reserves. Obviously, it is a decision of the government of the day. So the government of the day can choose to have 13, 14, 15, 16 weeks, etc. Right? So I think we must first underscore the importance of having a reserve, having adequate reserves, right? So we're not being reckless in our analysis. What we're saying is that, hey, we recognize that we need reserves. The global benchmark is 12 weeks. Barbados is holding 31 weeks for some time. And if that is the case, given the fact that most of these reserves are borrowed, if not all,
wow,
it is going to come at a cost to us. So while we underscore the importance of holding foreign reserves so that we can live our normal lives,
yes,
there must be a balance in terms of what does the excess, and the excess, I mean, is more than 2 times 31 weeks, is more than 2 times.
Why do you think the government is doing that? And the economists, don't they realize that are advising the government? Would they realize that we are what, twice the global benchmark? You're saying?
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
How does it benefit the government to do this?
I think that that's really a response that we're trying to get from the government. What the central bank of the governor of the central bank is on record of stating in previous releases that he's done is that it's for a rainy day. It's for a rainy day, and that's fine. But how much do you have to hold for a rainy day?
Yeah.
Because until the rain falls, the rain is falling on our pockets as taxpayers, right? So there has to be a balance that makes sense for the country and for the taxpayers that are asked then to pay this debt and to carry this high interest cost that we have to. Well, the government thinks that it's fine to hold in excess of 2 times as much of the foreign reserve. So we're really hoping that we can get some answers from the government and see if they can even rationalize why they would hold so much in excess, and probably ask them to come down a little bit. Because one of the other things, before we get into the presentation, one of the other things is that we have to listen very carefully. Yeah? So on one hand, the central bank governor and the government is boasting that the debt to GDP is reducing. So they're down from 155% to I think 103%. And they will use these words. Right now we have more space that we can do more, we can borrow again. So I'm saying if we can borrow again and we have more space, we do not need to have so much excessive reserves. Because if we do run ourselves in a situation where we have to borrow, you're saying that we can borrow because we've created some space that we can borrow. Because you're claiming that we've grown in terms of the economic growth of the country, and you're saying that the debt is sustainable and under control. So that means now there can be an ease in the level of foreign reserves that we're holding because it's so high, hence resulting in an ease in the taxpayers who actually have foot a bill of over $300 million in the last 4 years. But we'll go through the presentation.
Yes, right. You have the presentation there?
Yes, well, I'll just talk through it. It's on the screen, but I'll just talk through the rationale.
Okay, you're right. If you sent it to us, we can put it up, but you could go right ahead and talk through it.
Yeah, because it will still be fine, So, right. So essentially, what we've done here is that we're using information. All the information that I've put together is from the Central Bank of Barbados report. So it's from the review of the Barbados economic performance, January to December 2024. Okay, so we try to use as much information from that report so we can come to a fair assumption and a fair analysis. No, so it's not going to be bang on in terms of dollars because we're estimating a lot. And with the absence of precise information, we have no choice but to estimate, but we're using the best data available to us. Okay, so the first thing that we looked at, and if you want me, obviously, Marcia, you're very good at slowing down and making sure everybody understands.
Yes.
But the first thing that we look at is we look at the Central Bank report, and we realize that in 2018, the gross international reserves was $999.6 million. And that equates to 12.8 weeks of cover, 12.8 weeks of import cover. Now, that means that if you divide 999.6 by 12.8 weeks, that means that on average, we're spending US $78.1 million a week in the country. All right, good. So if you fast forward to 2024, we are holding $3.184 billion.
Wow.
So it's an increase of $2 billion. And that is 31.2 weeks. Now, if you do a similar calculation, the 3.184 billion divided by 31.2 weeks, you get that we are now spending an average of $102.1 million a week. So you see over the last 5-6 years, we've moved from $78 million a week to $102 million a week. That is that's almost a 50% increase. So we are spending more, and the impact of inflation is significant on these numbers as well, right? And obviously in another session, we can look at nominal growth and real growth and try to understand the relationship between the two and inflation. But you're looking at inflationary environment because, I mean, we're still buying the same things. We might be buying a little more, but in 2018, we were still buying corned beef, salt, sugar, cereal, you know, Pampers, sanitary napkins, makeup,
Right.
you know, rice. We are still buying the same things. So although we would have had some growth in terms of the quantity and what we've been buying, you can see that inflation has been impacting the reserves, and we're spending more on a weekly basis. Okay, so we don't expect that 6 years down from 2018, we would be asked to have $999 million, even if it is 12 weeks. We expect with inflation, it will increase. But you can see it's $3.1 billion, $2 billion more, 31.2 weeks of cover, and $102 million a week on average that the country is spending to ensure that everybody is able to import what they want.
Right. That's the importation.
Yes, that's what we spend. So pretty much that's what we're importing in goods and services.
Yes.
So if we look now at the global benchmark, which is 12 weeks, in 2024, 12 weeks today, at the end of December, we should really be holding $1.2 billion. We're holding $3.1 billion.
184.
Yes.
Wow.
And we should be holding 1.224 billion, right? So we're close up to over $2 billion in excess that we're holding, right? So what we did then is we calculated that is 19.2 weeks in excess. 19.2 weeks in excess. The global benchmark, 12 weeks.
12 weeks, correct.
And we are holding 19.2 weeks in excess of that.
That's strange. Have you compared it with any Caribbean island, any other countries?
No, I haven't, and there's a reason for that. I tend to try to use global benchmarks.
Okay, got
not
you.
look at the individual politics of an individual government, because if somebody looked at Barbados and they have bad policy as well, we can't.
I see what you're saying.
You can't get a pass because somebody else is doing the same thing.
But this is sounding weird to me. I have to ask. I mean, it might be a foolish question, but I'm wondering if there's is this real money, or this is on the books? It is what you understand what I'm asking? Is this real, or is it something on the books? Because
it is real. It is real because the interest costs are real. What we are asked to pay interest back, it is real. It is there. It is real. We are not using it. We are not using it. We have not put it to any productive use. We've not built any schools. We've not repaired any roads significantly. We actually borrowed money for all those things. But it is real because there's a real interest cost to it. There's a real cost of taxpayers to it that we should not ignore. Right? So it is not. I know you have the tendency to say it's not real because they're not used, but it's because they're not using it. It's because it's not put to efficient use with it.
I see what you're saying. The interest is still accumulating.
Yeah, it's still there. So the opportunity cost is lost.
That's it.
The opportunity cost is lost because it's not being put to good use.
Yes.
But to be honest with you, I would be on the caution. I would more be on the side of telling the government not to hold these excess funds rather than to use them, because they don't have a good track record of using money.
Right? I was thinking the same thing. So, they might just abuse it.
But abuse it. Budget overruns, all the things that go along
with but it's like a business that has all this money in, put in retained earnings, and they have the money, it's there, but they're not investing it. It's not doing anything for the company. They just have it,
And bring it down to like real terms, like me and you.
Yes.
If we want to build a home, or we want to buy a car, if we want to do something and we have to go to borrow money, we borrow what we need. We don't borrow 3 times as much as we need to pay back, or to put it on the credit union or put it on the bank to earn 0.1% interest and then to pay about 4.5% interest. We don't do that. We borrow what we need,
What you
and we
need.
use what we need.
So,
Right,
and so this amount here is that they're borrowing, and it's. I wonder what. It's a very good question to ask them. They need to be able to answer why is this? Why are we doing this?
Yes. Why are we doing it? Why are we doing it? But if we continue down, and what we then turned our focus to was to try to get an understanding of what interest rate they're paying, because at the end of the day, we want to calculate the impact of the additional reserves.
But Mr. Walters, just a pause, because Vihar, you were reading my mind.
Okay.
And look at what Vihar says, and this is because this is funny enough. This is how I see the government. They don't understand money, and I said this sometime on the show that a lot of times we like to put lawyers as leaders of countries and so on, and sometimes I think we miss out, not having an economist or somebody who's into business who understand how to turn over money, and to invest and to I agree with you, but go ahead.
And they're totally correct, because what we have here is a situation where the government came in, and we were a high debt to GDP. They restructured the domestic debt, and it impacted a lot of our lives, our pensioners, our national insurance fund, our credit union investments, and so forth, right? It affected a broad spectrum of persons. Now, they brought the debt down in 2018/2019 to $12.8 billion. Today, it is back up to $14.7 billion. So you've written it down. You've impacted the lives of investors by not trying to make every effort to pay it back. You've affected the pension fund. You've asked us to work longer, but you're back up to $14.7 billion at the end of December 2024.
So all the pain and all the sacrifices that we've made, basically it's nothing, because the debt is all the way back up. And we could, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, Marcia, but that does not include, on the other hand, they've taxed us heavily as well. So you have about $1.4 billion in additional tax revenue from all the additional taxes that they've taxed us since 2018 over the last 6 years. So you're saying you've written off our debt that you owed us. You've taxed us heavily, raising over $1 billion over the last 5-6 years, and that is $1 billion of disposable income that Bajans would have had, that households would have had. You've taken that out of the households, right? So they can't consume, they can't buy stuff like they wanted. They have now to just try to get through life. It is significant. So you're doing that, but then you're still increasing the debt, trying to convince Bajans that everything is under control. And then here you have it. You're holding 19 weeks in excess of the global benchmark of import cover. And it comes at a cost to Barbados, because every time you borrow, there is an interest cost. You might delay the principal payment, but you have to pay the interest. You do not escape the interest. And as you go through the next few months, when the economists start to dig into the numbers, when the annual budget exercise comes, you will see that Barbados will be asked to pay close to $1 billion in interest costs. So every dollar counts. Every dollar counts. And if we are running $1 billion deficit in this fiscal year, and we are paying close to $1 billion in interest costs, and we're holding $2 billion in excess in reserves, it is madness. It is financial rape, because the taxpayers have to carry this burden.
Yeah, it's saying that there is, it's a usual thing where you feel that have they thought through exactly what they're doing, or who is advising them. I thought that they had all these consultants Is this what the IMF is advising them to do? And if so, why? Why would it be 19 times above? What can we give them the benefit of a doubt? I mean, the idea of them having reserves and protecting the reserves, I understand that.
Yes,
right? But this is above industry standard, above the global benchmark for countries. So why would they be doing it? I'm still there, really.
It is way above, not just above. Because I mean, the policy could be let's hold 15 weeks, let's hold 16 weeks. I think that might be reasonable. But 19 weeks more, I think is unreasonable. Now, the disappointment comes when these things are not highlighted in a central bank presentation. This is where the onus is on the central bank governor to explain to Barbados, hey, this is something that the government is doing, and it is he either defends it, questions it, but at the end of the day, he educates Barbadians on what is really happening, right? Not just glossing over it and saying, oh, it's for a rainy day, etc., but to really inform us of some of these things. So those that are good with numbers and have a keen eye and like analysis and stuff can spend time, but then you have to depend on the media to carry a story. And they pull out what they want, all respect due to them. They can't carry everything you say. So I've taken the approach that instead of like everyone else giving a broad overview of the central bank report, I'm going to follow the lead of my leader, my political leader, and give the government our response in installments. We're going to take some key issues and go into them and discuss them, because it's very important that Bajans understand what we are saying, because it is not only political talk. It is really not political talk. It is actually common sense.
Mm-hmm.
They're very practical questions with very practical implications to everyone, right? So that's the approach we've taken in this instance, where we're going to look at different elements within these reports. We may not get all done one time or in a month, but over time, we will dive in, we will question, and by questioning, Bajans will be more educated and informed, so that when the government comes and make these broad claims about, oh, we have 31 weeks, the last government only had 12, only had 8, and only had 9, without putting it into context, then Bajans will be much more wiser and can make more informed decisions. Yeah.
What is really sad. I'm just here thinking about the people I met today on Swan Street. Senator Walters, and so people can talk about politics or whatever. Just go and have a talk with the people, just regular people, or just look at your life. One guy, he says to me, he says, ma'am, I'm out here selling my juices. And he says there was a time on a Friday where I would be almost finished. He said, look at that case of water sitting there. And he says that people are just not buying anything. He said, you're hardly even seeing people on Swan Street. The numbers aren't there anymore. People are not, and they can't because of the economy, because of what's going on. And when we think of the way you've put it across tonight to us, when you think that we would have made so much sacrifices, Ryan, as you said, they've owed money, and they've decided that they can't pay back. Things are just so bad that they can't pay it back. They've taxed us to the hilt more than any other administration. You understand?
In less than a year. This is in a couple of months. In that mini budget, it was taxes galore. Taxes galore. No effort to try to grow the economy in stages, just grab tax revenue. And in some instances, again, bad policy, writing off VAT that businesses owed, removing the National Social Responsible Levy, NSRL, I think that's what it's called. Yes. And then we didn't see any prices in the supermarket come down. And then now recouping all of those lost revenues with fuel tax, with garbage and sewage levy, with every single different taxes, from taxes at the airport to the seaport. To the road, when you drive on it, it's a significant burden without any effort to really try to grow the economy. And so we're here now where they've taken from us, they've diminished our spending power. Every year, national insurance, the ceiling on national insurance goes up. What does that mean? It means that more and more money is coming out of your paycheck to go to national insurance. But what is the government doing with national insurance? They're using national insurance like a Ponzi scheme. Because when they say that they are swapping this expensive debt for cheap debt with these climate debt for climate swaps, etc., the expensive debt that they're taking is our NAS debt. The funds that the NAS place in government to buy these 7.75% bonds and treasuries and securities, etc. And then a few years after, they're restructuring it, and then we're losing revenue. In terms of the pensioners, the taxpayers are losing revenue.
Right.
It's going to impact how long you have to work. It's going to impact the amount of money you will get for pension. It would impact the amount of money you will even get for some of the specific benefits that the NAS covers in its entirety. Now remember, they went through this debt for climate swap. Now understand this, they went through a debt for climate swap.
Right.
2 weeks of campaigning. Oh, it is beautiful. We are pioneers in Barbados, etc. Blah, 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 blah. They've never told you about the lost interest from the NAS, because the NAS was one of the main people that have been affected by this, right? And then 2 weeks after, or shorter, they release a bond. And the bond, the interest on the bond, the interest rate that they are offering is 7.75%. High interest debt again.
Right.
So who is going to buy that?
That's it. Yeah.
The national insurance is probably going to buy that, because they're probably going to make the national insurance buy that. So on one hand, you're chopping, and then you're getting the money. You're getting the money out by all these bonds, and then 5 years from now, you're going to say, "Hey, we're going to save some money, so we're going to take this debt that the NAS bought, and we're going to get cheaper." But you are being impacted because it's like a Ponzi scheme now.
Yes.
Right? It's like a Ponzi scheme. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful. The government is running too much of a deficit, asking on its budget, and its policies are really impacting taxpayers. As you can see, this is just one policy that is significantly going to impact taxpayers. I calculated $97 million alone in 2024 of interest payments just by holding $2 billion in excess of reserves.
Right. It's costing us.
This is what it's costing us in 1 year. Collectively, it's about $373 million. But let me explain how we got to that number. I just want to inform your audience here. So I explained that when they wrote off the debt, it went down to about $12.85 billion. And it creeped back up to $14.76 billion at the end of December. Because, as you would know, if you have a mortgage, you would pay maybe 3.5% on your mortgage. If you have a car payment, you will pay maybe 7% because it's a different interest rate. If you have if you take out a loan for household appliances or something, you might have a 5% interest rate or 10%. So you have a different levels of interest rates based on where you're borrowing from, who you're getting the money from, the amounts, the terms of the agreement. So this is not transparent to us in terms of all of the borrowings and the exact interest payments. So what we did is that we take the interest paid by the government over these years and divided that, and then we compare that to the gross public sector debt. So we take the gross public sector debt divided by the interest paid, and we get a number that is the average interest for the year.
Okay. Makes sense. It makes sense.
The debt is X, the interest is X. We divide the two, and we get an average estimated interest.
Yes,
so
that makes
levels
sense.
the playing field. So we're no longer concerned with if one was 7.5 and the other was 4. We don't have that luxury, so we estimated. In 2018, 2019, you also remember that the debt, the government said they're getting cheap money. You remember that?
Yes.
Cheap money, we're getting cheap money. So the debt, then the interest average interest rate then was 2.9%. In 2019-2020, it was about 2.02%. In 2021, about 2.66%. 2021-2022, 2.99%. So story sounds a little bit about right. But in 2022-2023, when you started to hear about all the fees and all the other things as well, and then when things started to turn now, coming out of COVID and all of the negotiations to assist countries, etc., the average interest rate calculation based on the same analysis of the previous years was 3.85%. Then that moved the next year to 4.79%. And it is estimated between 2024 and March that will be at 4.96% approximately. So the cheap money is no longer cheap.
No longer cheap.
Because you can see it's getting more expensive and more expensive. Right? So we use that then as a basis to say, hey, this is what the government is going to be paying on our excess reserves, and this is what it would have paid on the excess reserves over those previous years. And we get approximately $370 million when we apply it to the excess that they're holding.
Right.
Wow. And that is from pretty much 2020 to 2024. Right. So it comes at a significant cost. That is the rationale for.
You're muted, Ryan. Muted center.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Everything that we've based our estimations on were calculations from the central bank report. So there's nothing pie in the sky.
And it makes sense what you've done. It makes sense. We're not having, the specific interest rates. I could definitely see. I mean, it makes sense how you would have come up with that. And what I like about tonight, and I love this, Barbadians, I can see the numbers. Tonight is a low night, but I saw the numbers increasing once he got into this, and tells me, Senator Walters, the Barbadians want to understand. They want to understand what is happening because they're hearing the report of the central bank, but then they know what they're feeling at the supermarket. They know what they're experiencing, and if it is that they have all of this money that is sitting there, that we are 19 times, 19.2 weeks in excess of what the global benchmark is. It's a good question for those that are economists in Barbados, accountants, whoever you are, to ask the government why. We need to understand what are you doing, and we are racking up all of this interest. We need to understand what's going on, and I think you're doing an excellent job.
I think it's a reasonable question. I think so. And again, if we get a reasonable response, we accept it because we have to do what is in the best interest of the country. But if it is not in the best interest of taxpayers and the country, the policy needs to be revisited. The quantity will have to be revisited if they cannot support with good reason why they've taken a decision such as this. And it cannot be just for it. We can no longer accept that you're going to take advantage of taxpayers for political expediency, just to say that we have 31 weeks and it sounds good because coming along, we know that the previous administration has some challenges because of the economic environment at the time, and we don't have to get into that. And we're not even questioning the challenges that they have. We are saying this is what we have before us 6 years on, and is this reasonable or not? My answer is, based on the response from the government, it is not reasonable to have a policy like this because the impact on taxpayers is too burdensome in this environment. Let us earn our way. Let us start to earn our way. I also shared, Marcia, that during the debate this week in the Senate, we were talking about the same thing. We are talking about foreign currency permits and the good work that the government has been doing in terms of getting applications for foreign currency permits increased. It means then that we are attracting more international business or more global business, as they now call it. But how can you work so hard and get so much gains in one area and erode it by bad policy. Because now that interest is not only is interest, it is interest that was borrowed and has to be repaid in US dollars.
US dollars. Gone. The money gone. We lick it out. We lick
So,
out the money.
so you're
Wow.
working hard on one hand, but then the money is going so easy because now you've transferred the debt burden from being local to being foreign.
Right.
When we look at tourism, the numbers are up. And again, and that's why I say, look, I think we need to make sure that the central bank I think they're providing good information. I think the information is accurate. I would never question the information in terms of the professionalism and so forth at the bank. But I think that we need more fair analysis and not a report card that benefits the government, that complements the government's policy, right? Because when you look at tourism, we hear tourism is up. And I look at the numbers coming from the Statistical Service, and tourist numbers are up. But when you look at the contribution of tourism to the gross domestic product, it is down.
And what are you comparing it with? You're comparing it with pre-COVID. Well, when you say it's down, what is the comparison with? Because it's interesting, you're saying the numbers, the actual numbers are there and the numbers are high. But what is it that they're not spending the money here? The money is being spent somewhere else. What's going on?
Okay, so essentially, I'm looking. As I said, I made it a point not to be political, and not to be petty, and go back to 2018 and 2017 when tourism was booming, etc. I've taken the central bank report. And whichever years they're presented here, I did the analysis on.
Okay, understood. I didn't want to ask if you looked back at that, but you said it. Good.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
And all of the data is from years where they governed.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
And I think that is fair. Yeah.
So it's from 2019 to 2024. So in 2019, the contribution to GDP with tourism was $736.2 million. We leave out COVID 2020 and 2021, where it was just really the 200 million region.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
We go to 2022, it was 554.6 million. Below 2019. We go to 2023, it was 627.6 million. Below 2019. It was 703.7 million estimated at the end of last year, which is still below the contribution of 2019. But what I did is I took the number of long stay visitors now.
Yeah.
And I tried to calculate the average contribution per long stay visitor to GDP. And in 2019, that number was around $144 per person. And in 2024, it is about $99 per person. All right. So you're seeing that the numbers are growing, but it's like you're on a treadmill and you have to run faster you got to run faster to get off this weight. So you should be seeing a growth in tourist numbers and you should be seeing some growth in spend. And why should you say growth in spend? Also because of inflation. Right?
Correct.
So these are some, and I don't have the answers. It's just observations. It's just analysis. And I invite those that could answer to come and say, hey, this is the reason.
You know what we should do, Ryan? You know what we should do? We should get this up on the screen. I would love for us to do, because I was looking at the numbers. People are interested, Senator Walters. They are interested, and we're going to talk about this. And I know you have them there before you, right?
So how do you get them on the screen?
We're going to talk. Let's talk off air and see how we're going to get them on the screen. Not tonight.
Okay.
Right? Yeah,
Another
not tonight.
Right.
Yeah, we can work it out and have it. Yeah. I want the people to see it, because I think that education. That's why as soon as I saw in the paper, I said, Ryan, you've got to come. Because I see that people want to know.
Yeah. I think they should know. I think they have every right to know. I think,
Yes.
again, as I said, gone are the days where we let governments, politicians come and just push numbers and statistics in our face without us diving deep into the numbers. Great to have the tourism growth. We need it. But what is happening to the contribution per visitor? What is happening with the spend? And are we earning as we should? Right? And this is a conversation, it's not a new conversation. This conversation that people, questions that we've been asking, but when the governor of the central bank presents and fails to highlight these issues, I have a problem. When you look in the paper and you see 4% growth, 10% growth in 10% growth in tourism, 31.2 weeks in reserves, all the hours pointing up, unemployment down, and all this. When you look at unemployment, and I haven't dived deep in it, in 2018, there were 10,000 people unemployed. In 2024, there were 10,000 people unemployed. So I don't know about this.
What are they talking about? And this, what you're doing is so important. You know, I see Ms. McCLEAN has joined us, and we have to get into the next segment. But it means that you're not finished yet, because listen, you know what? Like you're going to class, and you know, teacher have to do a review. So I would like for you to come back, sir, and to do a review with the tourist numbers, you know, with all of that. And in the meantime, I would say to people, those of you who can manage to go and look at the central bank report, read that up, so that when we come back, I'll tell you when Senator Walters is coming, so that when he comes back, you are going to be better able to follow. And we're going to have it up on the screen, and you can be able to see and to see what he's saying, because a lot of what he's saying is making sense to me. And so I don't know.
Pages 28 to 34, I think. Yeah.
28 to 24. Pages 28. I don't know if Dave can put that for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
34. And we'll use that as a basis. Again, I have to spend some time into some more analysis, but what I already did, we can go over.
We can go to, and we have a session, and we will set the time for you. I know you were out canvassing, you're a little tired too. I don't want to keep you but I think this is brilliant. This is very, very brilliant. This is the kind of analysis that we need to be able to do, Barbados. And guess what, Senator Walters, we have the people who can do it.
Yeah, we do.
You know,
we would do it on behalf of the people. We would ask you hard questions. As I said, we're in it for the improvement of Barbados.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's good to look back. I mean, they will come, and I saw an attack on social media, which I didn't respond to, about past government and devaluation and all that. It does not give you a free pass to do nonsense, to mismanage the affairs of the government, because you are using figures and to suit you and putting everything out of context. It does not give you a free pass because the previous government held 12 weeks or 12.8 weeks or 11 weeks, that you should hold 31 weeks and cost taxpayers $300 million. It does not give you a free pass to tax Barbados, earn maybe $4 or $5 billion in excess in new taxes since 2018, and we have not seen any improvements in our lives. You continue to run annual deficits close to $1 billion. You borrow, you move the foreign exchange, the debt to foreign, so we have to look for more US dollars to pay back our debt. You've crippled our national insurance fund, and you continue to cripple it with your bad policy. It doesn't give you a free pass. So looking back at the previous government, whether it's David Thompson, Owen Arthur, Sandy Ford, it does not make a difference. It is all cheap political talk. If you want to move the country forward, do what is best for Barbados. Do not hire people to shut them up. Where is Clay Maskell? Where is Dr. Prasad? The governor of the Central Bank was an architect for the BIRTH program and now defends the government during the Central Bank report process. All of this has happened over the last 6 years. We cannot hear any fair analysis that is comprehensive enough to tell Barbados that the government is pretty much lying to us about where we are. They're pretty much lying to us about how well we are doing. Inflation is high, skyrocketed. And they have continually hidden behind the fact that we import everything. And we always like to blame the businesses, you know. But there's so much more that the government can do. And if you listen to what the businesses have been asking for, it really makes sense, some of the things that they've been asking for. But the government has been so much in need of trying to get as much money as they possibly can. I don't know for what reason, when we've had a sewage tax, but then we still have to go and borrow money for a sewage project. We have a fuel tax that's earning much more than we earn in the road tax, and we still have to go and borrow money for roads. We have not repaired schools. We have not repaired housing. We've not built new houses. Furthermore, we've wasted money in houses. We've disadvantaged our small contractors. We've disadvantaged small businesses. And what? And what are we are paying? We are paying the 300 and I think there are about 384 houses in Deacon's Farm. All those houses, working class people, got to pay sewage tax, got to pay garbage tax, got to pay more electricity. Renewable energy is a waste of time.
Correct.
The government, the Barbados Light and Power, I read in an article, they said they paid more for renewable energy than they paid for fuel last year. Could you imagine that? And you have a government that every time they speak about renewable energy, they are speaking to one set of people, the business class, not the people that have to pay the bills, the business class. And the word they use all the time is investment, 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 investment. Any caring government that pursues any renewable energy thrust, it has to be for one reason and one reason alone, which is to reduce the cost of living in the country, not to create additional streams of revenue for 500 people when you have 275,000 people on the island. I'm not saying that anyone who invests should not get a fair return, but it must be just that, a fair return. It cannot be seen as something that is only a vehicle for investment. It has to be driven by lowering costs to households, lowering costs to businesses. What have they done? They have allowed persons, primarily people that have money, and I'm not, who has money that's fine, there's investment opportunities, but this is how I would picture renewable energy benefiting the country. You have a manufacturing plant in Barbados. You put panels on your roof, so your cost of electricity comes down, so your product moves from being $2.50 per unit to $1.95 per unit.
Correct.
What has happened is that you put those panels up, and then you earn 20% return on them. And your cost goes from $2.50 per unit to $2.85 per unit to the consumer. So then the consumer pays more. You are getting your same return for your business plus 20% on your roof. You have the whole project. Home ownership providing energy. The first project that they did, no one there has renewable energy on their rooftops connected.
Correct.
No one. Home ownership poorly executed. It's that I want all Barbadians to know that that is the new, that is what hope means. So, Marcia, there's just so much different things.
Yes, I love this. I love when you do this. I think that this is very beneficial, and I can see from the comment the people are connecting to it. And I think that that's right, Michelle. And if that's the accountant, I know her what she's saying. The math is not mathing. I think that I'm grateful for what you're doing, and it's a breath of fresh air. And so I want to say I would love for you to come back, and if we could just take off the hats and stop saying, oh, DLP and oh, this and whatever. Let's just sit down and go through the numbers together. And I love that you did not use from 2008 and all that. Before you use what they have. You use a central bank report, and I think that is good. I think that is good.
But I think too is important that we use what they provide in one report, because from report to report sometimes the sources change in terms of some of the metrics
very
that they
good,
use.
Ryan. Yeah.
Right. So it's very important that we use what is provided in one report so that the comparisons are even. Because you might use a report from 2018, but they might be using a different metric to calculate import cover, etc. In terms of a base year, etc. Right. So
listening to you and seeing the leader of the opposition and just looking at Barbadians. I mean, even the new party, I saw that they provided a whole thing on safety to the government. And with all of that, Ms. McCLEAN and Senator Ryan, the people are still thinking that there's nobody here who can lead the country.
Oh dear, you're so right.
Part of the lie that we have been sold. I know we want to go on to something else. Former Senator McCLEAN, you must be so proud of Senator Walters. But when you think of it,
of course.
Good night.
And I anticipate that he will be the next representative of the constituency in which I was born. Right? I cannot resist. No, but in all seriousness, I think, what really makes me proud is that you are taking the time to do the analysis. You get numbers thrown out at us, and, we get the jargon, GDP to whatever, and debt to GDP and gross this and whatever. But you're looking and saying, for example, and I just use one of the numbers he used, when he looked at the average, I think it was the average spend of visitors.
Yeah, the average contribution to GDP. Yeah.
Right. It was 100. It went from 144 to 99 or something like that per.
Yes.
Part of what's happening is that if you look, one of the things there is that in the last, let's say, prior to even maybe before COVID, we've seen the numbers shifting towards Americans.
Yes.
As a single group, the British were the single largest group of visitors. And a couple of things happened. The British come longer, they spend more money. So if we start to use arrivals, we look at numbers, an American may come. Americans typically have like 2 weeks vacation. And I noticed a couple of persons indicated it. I think V. Hoy says she can only come 3-4 days. If she's in North America, she probably has on average 2 weeks vacation. The Brits, on the other hand, may have 3 or 4, so they may come here for 2 or 3 weeks, and they spend a lot more because their whole approach to holiday is different. They're spending and whole kinds of things, and so numbers by themselves don't paint the picture because consumer behavior reflects place of origin and all kinds of things. So I think that is it. And then you ask yourself, if those contributions are dropping, because if you look on average daily spend and so on, that is a reflection of that. How does a visitor tip, for example? Because you get a salary as a waiter or waitress or a bellman or whatever, but then it is supplemented by tips, and so there's a whole set of analysis there where when you start to analyze the macro figures, you have to look beyond that to see what is the impact on the individual worker and household and those kind of things. So I really want to say to Ryan, Senator Walters, let me give you a proper handle. That you are, you're doing a good job. And I say continue to keep up. I must tell you, Marcia, I've observed him for the last, even before he was in the Senate. This kind of analysis is something that he's always done. And I consider him a very serious young man. You see, I mean, he will crack a smile every now and again, but he's serious about what he's doing. And I really appreciate the effort that you put into that, because a young man like him can go off in a business career and make his money and say, why should I subject myself to the harsh realities of political abuse? Let me call it partisan political abuse and so on. And he said, no.
I'm not saying, that is a question that somebody very close to me today posed. Why? It's just funny that you're saying it.
For love of country.
Right.
And I'm not telling you to say what my brother said, but my late brother said to his, I guess when he was proposing to get married, Barbados first and you after. So if he did that, you know, my sister-in-law reminded me of that some years ago. And she accepted the conditions, if you see what I mean.
Yes.
And anybody who knew my brother would understand the contribution he made to public life in Barbados. And that was a commitment.
One last thing.
Yes.
Just on the tourism, before I make a closing remark as well, but just on the tourism, we must not also give the BTMI a free pass because we're seeing more arrivals from the US and a decline in the UK visitor. We need to maintain the UK visitor for the reasons that Maxine highlighted. So more has to be done to make sure that that market is growing. We're not talking about offsetting growth. We're talking about every market should be growing. That is how you grow, by making sure that you maintain your presence and you're growing each market. Not that you're trading travelers from one market to the next. Another thing is that, and I will do the calculation because there are specific taxes now that have funded the BTMI for the last 6 years. So you can actually calculate how much money that they've had in their budget to manage their affairs. And we will calculate it as well.
Yes.
We will ask them questions because I had some visitors, had the honor of having breakfast a day this week with 2 businessmen that came in. And we were talking about tourism and they just wanted to get a feel for the business that they're in and how it would impact and the opportunities in Barbados. And they said, we're getting more visitors from the US now. And they said to me, I never see an ad for Barbados. Never. I never see anything saying come to Barbados. The only thing that they've seen is a Sandals ad that shows the countries that Sandals operates in, but they've never seen an ad. So sometimes you want to give people kudos, but this growth in the US might not even have nothing to do with any effort from the BTMI.
Probably what Petra did before she left and went to is it Grenada?
Probably Rihanna. Probably.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're not doing anything. I'm just saying that these are realities. That everything, if there's a decline, it might not be all their fault. But if there's an increase, it might not be all their hard work either. And we have to. Those are questions that they themselves would have to ask in terms of how they spend the funds afforded to them, and how we are benefiting, because we will see how much it costs to bring one visitor and how much they're spending. We'll work it out.
Yeah. Well, Senator, I want to say that it was a year ago that the Honorable Rob Thorne crossed the floor, and people wondered who were going to be these senators. And I think it was because I tried to memorize these dates. Was it February 13th?
It was February 13th that we were sworn in by.
Yeah, I know it because I tried to memorize it because it's so important for Barbados. And February 13th, I want you were sworn in as a senator, and I want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Rob Thorne for giving us the opportunity to experience your intellect and your dedication and your commitment. And this says a lot about Mr. Rob Thorne, him being able to see that diamond that some people would say in the rough, right? But it was always there. And especially why I say that, when I see how you came up from a male room, people need to go back and watch that. And I said there's something about this young man here. So I want to, I know we have to go into Senator Haynes. I'm sure you were in the, were you there and heard her? That caused, we want to
Marcia, before Ryan goes, I just want to ask him one question, because unfortunately I didn't get to watch the Senate live. What was the reaction on the government
Well,
bench.
before we do that, Ryan, we're gonna ask your wife to let you stay on a little bit longer because you're doing some stuff to us tonight. So, Dave, can you play it again? Play the clip from Senator Haynes that had me like, I'm like, what is going on here? This, because anyway, let's play the clip and then we will talk. Dave. Yeah, he's gonna try to find it. I wanted him to do that, but go ahead then answer the question then.
I just wanted to know what was the reaction, because, and I'll explain why I asked you the question.
To be honest, it was a shocker to everybody, but it shut the room, it shut the chamber. I mean, it was very impactful, it felt very sincere, and it was very telling. That's what I would say. It was very telling. I mean, Senator Drates is
not Drates.
Not Drates, sorry.
Haynes.
Crystal Haynes, sorry.
Haynes,
Senator
Crystal,
Haynes.
yes. Independent senator.
Yeah, she is she's a very decent lady. I mean, she's very cordial. She's very courteous and stuff like that. And I think that she was very sincere in her call, and it really shut the chamber. I think, Marcia, you should also try to play the ending of the clip for Senator Reverend Dr. John Rogers, who actually pleaded for the government not to penalize her.
Oh,
that was emotional to me. That
what?
Something went through me.
Hold on a minute.
Ask Dave to search for it while we talk.
No, Senator. You see, I'm so glad. Tell your wife, don't hurt me.
She's all right.
To me, you're telling me that the good Reverend begged them not to penalize her for speaking her mind.
Yeah,
I'll speak to that, Marcel.
It was a sincere call because we felt the sincerity. And I think she did also have some support from another senator as well on the government side. But what was also glaring is that she did not have any support from the Minister of Culture, who also sat in the chamber. She was silent. She had nothing to say.
Interesting.
So Maxine, you can deal with that as well.
Let's play this because we've got to eat this up, folks. Because we don't see this often. We didn't even know that they could think. Much as speak about what they're thinking. I'm serious.
I'll contextualize debates in a minute.
I'm serious, Miss McCLEAN.
No, I understand, but as I said, I'll contextualize debates. I can't speak for this government, and that's why I asked Ryan the question, because I'm trying to understand some things. But let's hear the members of the Lord.
Let's hear this again, and let's hear the people comment. And I want you guys to comment about this. Go ahead, let's play it, Dave. Thank you.
Heritage. We're actively building out at Newton Burial Ground. We have done some works at Golden Square so that people could better understand the story of what happened there. Right now, there's a simple obelisk standing in commemoration of the landing. I think that we could do more to tell the story of this site, not just of English settlement, but the story of the Amerindian community who were here before all of us, our indigenous population who were decimated. I understand that there's tremendous economic value for any beachfront in HOLETOWN, but can we save some of it for us? Even if we don't keep the police station there, my personal view is that this should always be publicly accessible land. Ideally, I would love to see a green space. I would love to see some kind of creativity go into what could be designed to go there so people can enjoy and get a better understanding of the history. We've heard the cases being made about traffic congestion in the area. I don't know how having a 9-story hotel on one side of the canal and a 7-story hotel on the other side of the canal are going to alleviate traffic congestion. It's already a mess, let's be honest. We haven't heard about environmental impact. We know that the West Coast is not sewered when we're adding additional hotel rooms. How is this going to affect the coast? And in terms of beach access, other than Bats Rock and Folkestone, I can't tell you a facility where I can park, have a sea bath, turn around and shower, pack my bags, and leave comfortably. Everywhere else along the West Coast, because coastal development in Barbados, particularly on the West Coast, since the 1950s, has allowed wealthy, usually foreign developers, to come and build wall to wall to wall to wall to wall. We have no view, and if you want to get on the beach, we are squeezing between a couple of walls. I love Gibbs Beach, but I am always wary about wringing an ankle when I have to go onto Gibbs Beach. And we know what the practice has been for decades. I cannot sit here and be a part of something where I feel like we're allowing it, we're perpetuating the problem. So like Senator Boyce would have said, we need to be very, very clear on what the guardrails are for these developers. Tourism is notoriously extractive, we know that. We heard about job creation, but then still we heard the workers' union overwhelmingly telling us their challenges with regards to the treatment of hotel workers. A lot of them are being hired only on a part-time basis, basically being brought on between November and April, being sent home during the summer months. What we know is that the average room attendant is making around $440 in a luxury, because there are different categories of hotels. Luxury is the highest paid. They're taking home $447 a week, I think. So when we talk about job creation, we also need to think about the quality of jobs that we're creating. What I would like to see personally in this new Barbados, in this new republic, let's start having a conversation about Barbadian ownership. How do we get a piece of the pie? How do we get to participate?
Wow. Miss McCLEAN.
Yes, ma'am. Now, I was very clear in sorry, Marcia. I
heard myself.
I was trying to find a comment I had sent to you. Now, I specifically asked Senator Walters the question I asked because I got the impression from the notes that went around, and I'm happy I have to go and listen to Senator Rogers's comment, because there's normally something like this, Marcia, in my time as leader of government business, would not have surprised me. I'll tell you why. There's a process that we went through, process of parliamentary group meeting, the parliamentary group. So in essence, on Monday mornings, because the House of Assembly normally met on Tuesdays, we would meet on Monday evenings, the members of parliament and the senators, to discuss the parliamentary agenda. And their people were able to exchange their views on a piece of legislation. And oftentimes, sometimes you would hear somebody say, but I feel very strongly about this. And there would be a discussion. Now, in parliamentary jargon, you hear about the whip being on. There's a person called the whip, the person who is appointed to keep the representatives, whether it's the senators or the members of parliament, in check. So in essence, when you go to parliament, the expectation is that if you are part of the government side, you have discussed the issue and you come together with what is essentially a unified and united position. However, there may be issues about which people feel very strongly. For example, things touching on religion, for example, or certain other considerations. For example, I can imagine that if we ever had a piece of legislation looking to legalize casino gambling on island, they will, as they say, the whip will be off, because that is something for which people have very strong feelings. An issue like this, which touches on our history, our heritage, on our very being as people in Barbados, if it were, as I am saying, I'm using the system and the period that I served as leader of government business, that would have been debated. Now, I must congratulate Senator HAYNES for taking the time to speak honestly and frankly on this. And I think somewhere in the news coverage, I see that it was suggested that she said that I paraphrase now, that she hesitated to do this, that she thought about it long and hard. But I believe that,
and she Maxine, and she was also, and she said that somebody also told her to sit it out.
Okay, so it means that there was some kind of discussion. Now, if you ask me to serve, my conscience cannot be put to sleep. You understand? And so this is one of the options. But to me, I think that, and again, no, that confirms to me some of what I'm thinking, that clearly, if it wasn't that she surprised, if the person who probably suggested she said it out was on the same side, it meant that there was some discussion, if even only with one of her colleagues. But I believe that any government, any opposition, where there is a debate on a piece of legislation which is so important and for which an individual may have extremely strong reasons to want to express a personal view, that should be allowed. Now, of course, you know, the situation of a vote, let's say, and again, you vote, you speak to your conscience and you vote to your conscience. Now, there are consequences to that. And I think on the side of, or in relation to the comments made by Senator Rogers, he understands how the system works. And therefore, he is saying to the Prime Minister, because I understand that a senator is appointed by the Prime Minister. It is, in this case, her choice, her being the Prime Minister. She has chosen a set of senators. And so, as in the words, I think of the right excellent Errol Walton Barrow when he was Prime Minister, where he fired some individuals. And his comment was, you appoint and you disappoint. But I would say that if I am sitting, and this is where I believe that Dr. Haynes would have weighed what she was saying, you know, very carefully, and she decided, look, this issue is of such grave importance that I have to live true to my conscience. And that, I believe, should be it. Now, if at the end of the day, her appointer, that is the Prime Minister of Barbados, is not happy with that, then she can do what she can do. But I would say to the goodly senator, if that is what it comes to, in the history books, you will go down as a woman of integrity.
Correct.
Who stood up, not on a frivolous or simple matter. This is a matter that goes to the heart of our heritage, our being as Barbadians, our history. And you know, I remember it would have been the late Prime Minister Owen Arthur, who talked about land fetching its highest economic value. But in the context of this country's development, this country's, the people's, the value of you know, the values of the people, etc., I don't know that you can put a monetary value to things that are of great importance. And this Marcia is an example of what David Thompson, our late Prime Minister, said when he talked about Barbados being more than an economy. It is a society. Because
Yes.
the society exists to better the interests of the people. And part of bettering that interest is through economic decisions and actions. But the economic decisions alone cannot stand. And I really believe that. Well, I wait to see how the Prime Minister will deal with this. And I say that because in all of this, you know, there's this notion that women are very important to this administration. There are a lot of them. But here is a woman who, for me, stands tall.
Yes.
And I really believe that Barbadians need to appreciate what she said, because I cannot understand for the life of me how the matter of that decision about HOLETOWN could win favor with a cabinet and with a parliamentary group of 29 persons. if they understand what it is to be a Bajan and what culture and heritage
means that. And that you, as Senator Ryan, I know you have to go, but Senator Ryan was saying it is appalling, really. Well, he didn't use that word, I'm using it. Appalling that the Minister of Culture sat there and said nothing. Was not in. She should be up, standing up on them thing. And what are your any more comments on this, Senator? You were sitting there. Anything else you want to tell us before you go? I know you have to go.
I think I'm disappointed because they should be enjoying looking at the expression on the faces of those on the government side. I was really into, like everyone else, what Senator Haynes was saying, and it was honestly it was bravery. She was brave. Everybody recognized that, and I think that's why she got support and she got that call for Senator Rogers in terms of support. But I urge persons to go listen to Senator Rogers's contribution. Because he made some really good points and comparisons to other places that have kept their heritage and how they've done so. And one example in particular. So, I mean, I think that everybody's seen what's happened and everybody has a chance to ventilate on it. And we'll see how the government deals with it.
Yeah,
if
but I tell you, if they touch her, because I'm going to read some of these comments after you've left here from Instagram. It's going to be in Jamaica. We're going to say hell and powder house. If they touch that little tiny woman.
Another expression that I will bother to use on your program.
Oh, Lordy. Well, listen to me, Ryan. If they touch if they touch her, I didn't say it. Miss McCLEAN said, "Cat piece and pepper."
Yes, it would be. No, but you see,
let me curse. I said I follow Bajans and saying words, and then everybody in my church group say I curse. So I'm following Miss McCLEAN, and she said it.
It's not a bad word. It's not a bad word. It's just a vernacular for what it is.
We have another 9 minutes. I want to thank Senator Ryan. I don't want to keep you too long because I want you to come back. And I want to commemorate the 1 year. It's coming up to 1 year. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please stay humble. Don't change. Don't let that body compliments get to your head, please.
I will hit that upside his head.
Get in the books. Get in the books and crunch the numbers to us, please. That's the only thing that we want to hear right now. Okay?
All right.
Don't get too heady. Right, I love you. So I
will bring it back to earth for you, Marcia. Bring it back to earth.
Yes, and you tell Honorable Rob Swan, thank you. We thank him very much for the hard work. He was in Parliament, just came out tonight, so he's been working all day, and we appreciate Senate. We appreciate Honorable Rob Swan. God bless you. Yes.
All the best.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Take care. All right, Ryan.
Bye.
No, but
before you say, Miss McCLEAN, I promised them that I'm going to open the phone line, and I think this is a good time to do it. The phone line is open, people. The phone line is open, and Miss McCLEAN has given us a good opener right there. So and thank God I kept back Senator Walters as well. So I want you guys to call in. The number is on the screen. You can WhatsApp or you can call a regular call. Call in and give us your comment. Just quick comments, right? We're all set up to go. And I believe it's going to...
Have somebody there?
No, not as yet. Not as yet. But while they're coming on, can I just read you some of the comments?
Sure, I think that's important.
Instagram. Somebody said, can we save some of it for us? That was the part I love. She says, can we save... So somebody wrote back, direct speech. Can we save some of it for us? Louder for the back, for the people in the back. 247 persons hit like. Somebody says, if we don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything. Well done, Senator. The people are with you. So if you're not thinking about bad, bully her. Go and bully her, and you will see. Bajan Rene said the island is literally being sold to the highest bidder right before our very eyes. How many more hotel villas and gated communities do we plan to cram on the island? Right? That has received 47. 107 likes. Nicholas Worrell. These fields and hills are not our very own. 107. And then somebody wrote, finally, Crystal, you deserve a standing ovation. Mr. Senator Dr. Haynes, wherever you are, we want to salute you on the show. We don't care that which party you're from. It's not about that, right? What am I looking at here?
Don't want money, no, that's young robber. No, I want my mother. Hey, but we don't know when we get in we pension. We don't know when we turn 67. We don't know if common entrance done. We don't know if Nero can still run, but we all see the video. He ain't listen to me, and he picked the wrong lawyer, so it's campus and pepper.
Trust me to find that. No, but Marcia, I think that this is an issue around which Barbadians have to galvanize, because look, it is one thing to say, I mean, think of the program on Wednesday night. I had not even watched the Senate on Wednesday night when we had the program and we were talking about Jules River, and Victor was sharing all of that, and Michelle. Barbados is 166 square miles, and we are uglying up the place. Let me put it like that. There's a structure. I say to myself, maybe when it is not just plain concrete, here's this Australian guy who believes, I guess, that he's still down under and he can come here and talk to us and pull out his phone and make poor Victor think that he might have been pulling out something else, given the situation around here, that he might have been, Victor had to step aside to make sure that it wasn't something that could do him harm. But my thing is, what has happened? I mean, what is interesting, and we don't have the time tonight, but I'm going to send you, because only this morning, before I got out of bed, because that's when I do a lot of reading and watching videos, there is a video. I call him my dear son because he's old enough to be, or young enough to be my son, the president of Burkina Faso.
Ms. McCLEAN, may I pause you in that thought there? If I hope you can remember. I think there's somebody on the call.
Right.
Good night, caller. Yes, good night. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show. Can you hear me? You're not hearing.
Just ask the person to speak, because I was hearing something.
Good night, caller.
They're probably not listening to the phone or something.
Good night, caller. Yeah, I was hearing her, but then I wasn't hearing her after that.
Try again. Hello.
Yeah, we're looking at it. Look. Yeah. Hello. Hello. We heard her, but then we stopped. It stopped. It's muted.
Oh, okay.
Are you muted, caller? Hello? Caller? All right, we're having some difficulty. It's coming up that she's muted.
Yeah, I was saying that, coming down but maybe it's because it's just the raw concrete or whatever, but there is that construction that is taking place next to the Esplanade in Christchurch, in Hastings Esplanade. That's Hastings. That's it. Yeah, Hastings. That's the Esplanade where the Caribbean used to be. And
yes,
the best way I can describe it, it's just creepy. Every time I passed it, the building looks, I don't know, because it's such a small space and it is so close to the road, but it almost looks like it's falling over on me. And, you know, it just gives me an extremely uneasy feeling if the traffic slows right there. You know, and I just look at it and I say to myself, do we want too many of these imposing structures, especially if they are so close, you know, they're not set back from the road a bit and whatever the case may be, because looking at that, there's very little, if any, parking space at the front of that building and so on. And I'm asking myself, what about, and I raised this, I think I might mention to you that I actually called the call-in program today because they were talking about this issue. I didn't speak directly to HOLETOWN, but I spoke about tourism. And because reference was made by Senator Haynes to a 7-story and a 9-story hotel complex on either side of the canal. Now, my question is, now this person is referring to it as the monstrosity they pass.
Yeah. Well, 1 second. Good night, caller.
Good night.
Okay, we finally got her. Don't lose your thought, Miss McCLEAN. Don't lose your thought. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, caller. Good night. Thank you for calling.
No problem at all. With what I just heard, it is absolutely no problem. I'm here smiling from ear to ear. I'm so over the moon at the senator. I mean, somebody got the voice.
Yes.
Somebody was bold enough to come up and say what was said. And I am so proud of her to somebody to finally say, this is what it is. And this is what I think it will benefit the Barbadian public better. I am so overjoyed. She was finally free from prison.
Yes, that's wonderful. Wonderful. What is there any particular thing that stood out to you when she spoke?
Everything. I hadn't heard no more than what the news had said until you played it tonight. But the fact alone, and I was just going to make a what, 40 seconds, 10 seconds, something that she might have said. But she went on.
Yes.
She actually went on to make a point that was opposing what the government was
Well,
saying.
listen, caller. There's another caller on the line, and I want to ask you: are you going to then come down to Joe's River, because Joe's River symbolizes everything that the senator is speaking about? It's our symbol of saying no. We are saying no to the overdevelopment, no to the colonizer, no. This is what Joe's River, and that's going to be on February 16th. Are you going to come?
Do you want me to come with bells?
That means you're going to come. Well, thank you, caller. There's another caller, and I want to maximize the time. Okay, let me go to this caller. Thank you so much. God bless. Good night, caller.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
The senator was great. She gave the government the book of patriotism, what they needed. Someone has got to speak out. And that was a brilliant speech that she gave. She hit the nail right in the center.
Yes.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you. Are you coming on to Joe's River on the 16th?
Yes. I'll try to do that because I've lived out some because
yes.
I wasn't here. So
yes. Well, I hope to see you. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Bye-bye. Yeah. Yes, Miss McCLEAN. I hope you can still remember what you were saying. Oh my Lord. But I have to take these calls, you know. Go right ahead. You're muted, Miss McCLEAN. You have the final word.
Yeah. Okay. No, what I was saying is that one of the things that I raised today, and we can probably talk about this another time, is the issue of what I call carrying capacity. Let me try and plug in my computer. It's saying to me, it's low. Carrying capacity of our tourism sector. You know, we can build all of these hotels, but let's say on the West Coast, we have a situation where right now we're having issues being able to deliver good water to St. Lucie. How are we going to satisfy the demand for water? Because you're going to have probably some of these things have pools and whatever the case may be, 9 stories. Water is an issue. sewage treatment, solid waste. I think the senator raised that issue. You know, labor. How are we planning for satisfying the labor demands? And I mean, it is expected based on some of the discussions I certainly would have participated in when we looked at expansion of the hotel sector, that because of the composition of the labor force in the hotel sector, a significant number of workers are at the what I would call the semi-skilled lower end of the salary scale, etc. Now, if we cannot find all of these persons, domestically, we have to bring workers into Barbados. Are we making provision for housing for them? The cost of living, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The mention of about working for about $400 a week or so, that is okay if you are living in a household where you are, let's say, one of a family and contributing. But what happens if you're coming from the Caribbean or further and you have to pay rent and these kinds of things? Are we gonna bring people to work in Barbados and have them live under conditions that are less than acceptable to the average member of the population? There's a whole set of planning that has to go into this, and I'm outside of looking at a location like HOLETOWN and seeing dollar signs in relation to some high rise, what I call generic style building that will ruin the area from in relation to its history and our patrimony and all of these things. So I really am not happy. But, you know, when you do an analysis of our town and country planning legislation, because I started reading that 129-page document, Marcia, and, you know, the question is, are the checks and balances that would hopefully work to make sure that the best decisions are taken, are those things provided for in the act, or is it that we have individuals, and in this case the buck stops at the Prime Minister, who are perhaps making decisions without necessarily factoring in the opinions of others who may have a different view, because they understand that there are several other issues that you have to contemplate before we make hasty decisions that we cannot reverse, or that will do damage, even if you try to reverse them, if they're not stopped.
Yes. You know, I just want to say, Miss McCLEAN, that this is last year around about this time, we were stunned when you know, Rob Thorne crossed the floor. Mr. Thorne crossed the floor, and yesterday we were stunned by this you know, lady, this woman, and I'm making it a point that she's a female standing up and finding her voice, and she needs to know, anybody listening, she needs to know that the same way we supported Sonia Brown, although it didn't make a difference, they still bullied Sonia Brown. You know, we are saying that the public, we're watching, and you dare not lift a finger at that woman, proverbially, because I know that it's not like they're going to physically abuse anybody, but you know what I mean, at her. Yeah. So, Miss McCLEAN, this is where we end tonight. Been quite an exciting night. Yes. And we're going to be on again on this is now on Sunday. And Sunday we have a special guest, Mr. Clyde Griffith, and he's going to be talking about immigration, the immigration situation in the U.S. and how it has you know, impacted the Caribbean, and not just that, but practically to speak to Caribbean nationals of what they can do. If you find yourself you're not regularized in the U.S. and you know, these edicts are coming down, and you know, how does it affect you, and what do you do? What do you do to protect yourself? We're going to talk about that on Sunday evening, for sure. So make sure you are connected, right? You're logged on. God bless you all very much.
Thank you.
Yes. And thank you, Miss McCLEAN, for ever being there. We appreciate it very, very much. The people were already asking for you. And thanks to Senator Ryan Walters and to Michelle, who did an amazing job. Michelle Daniel, Miss Daniel, an amazing job. Fantastic work. Okay. Thank you all so very much.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Go ahead, Dave. We can't hear. Not hearing. We're not hearing. It's not going to work. We do it another night. Okay.
The cat's got away.
All right. Good night, folks. Thank you all for joining. God